says we're back. Phil, we're back in business.
Yeah, tell me this, right? Who ironed that shirt you have
Me?
on you today?
Is it not good?
No, it's good, right? But I think you must have been distracted for a wee while because you held the iron, see, around your belly there.
Yeah.
There's marks on it.
No, there isn't.
No, there is. There's you left the iron sit on it.
Can I tell you what the problem is? And I don't know how to fix it. The ironing board cover is loose, and it's an absolute nightmare.
Why didn't you fix it then?
I can't fix it.
Why didn't you buy a new one?
Well, I'm glad you've got that much money. You can just bandy it about. So there's a bit
Tenner
of
buy a cover.
There's a bit of sponge that sits on top of the ironing board, and it's now creased, ironically.
Right.
So it's all uneven, and then the cover is on, and the little elastic that tightens it's gone. So it's an absolute nightmare.
God, you're good at DIY,
at the same
aren't
time,
you?
I'm ironing the shirt, the ironing board cover, and the sponge. And
Everybody's impressed
the
with
fact
you. You
the
iron
iron
your own
didn't go
shirts.
through the window this morning.
Yeah.
It's something of a miracle.
Oh, you did it this morning, not last night?
No. It's in the morning. Yeah.
Why don't you do the 5 shirts that you're going to wear that week?
Because I don't know.
That's what Beckham does. He has his clothes lined up on a rail that he's going to wear that week.
Do you believe that?
I don't
The
know.
man's a multi-millionaire.
I would say he does. I know, but I would just, but just because you're multi-millionaire, somebody doesn't organise your boxer shorts.
Do you think?
No, come on.
I'd say there's a lot of guys.
David, I think you wear the Calvin Klein ones this week.
A lot of guys listening to this show this morning that they think their boxer shorts magically appear in the drawer. I would say, and they're not millionaires.
Right, okay, we'll leave it at that then, won't we? Come here, have a good show.
All right then, Lee. And if you want to sponsor an ironing board,
I'll get you a cover.
Okay, and the sponge. The sponge is creased. Thanks, Lee. It's 9 o'clock here on Highland Radio, the 9 till noon show, just around the corner. Let's get a news update and cross over now to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Almost 9 in 10 houses delivered by approved housing bodies last year were new builds. The latest Housing Association activity report found AHBs provided 4,385 new social homes, 41% of the total housing stock delivered last year. The Irish Council for Social Housing says it's vital any obstacles to project approvals or funding bottlenecks are anticipated and removed. Chief Executive Donal McManus says a housing czar might just help them achieve their targets.
Anybody or any office that is in place that can resolve these problems, is certainly worthwhile doing. But obviously that's a political issue for government. But certainly there are a number of challenges at the moment we think could overcome when this is our or any other body set up.
Overcrowding and low staffing levels will once again be the biggest issues addressed at the INMO annual conference today. Delegates from around the country have gathered in Wexford to discuss the future of nursing and midwifery here. The organisation says it will put the case for ensuring safe staffing levels in legislation to the Health Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeil when she speaks at the event tomorrow. Phil Hay says it's the best way to keep patients safe.
We simply do not accept that year on year we should be seeking and having to ballot our members in order to bring about an orderly recruitment process. There's a better way, and it's legislated for, and if everybody's interested in the best outcome for patients, the best outcome for patients is that there are enough staff to look after them.
€65,000 has been awarded to CLG and Clochanlia for the provision of fences, scoreboards, goalposts and dugouts at the new pitch. Donegal Deputy Pat the Cope Gallagher confirmed that the funding was approved for the Dunlow Club by the Gaeltacht Minister for the works, which are at an advanced stage. It's expected that the first match there will be played next spring. The papal conclave to elect the 267th Pope will get underway in the Vatican City this afternoon. 133 cardinals will begin voting for Pope Francis' successor, with the eventual winner needing 89 votes to become the head of the Catholic Church. All eyes will be focused on the chimney of the Sistine Chapel for signs of white smoke, which indicates a new pope has been chosen. Expert in canon law, Dr. Kurt Martins, says the process is totally secretive and huge measures have been taken to make sure there are no leaks.
There was a final inspection to make sure that there is nothing there that could tape what's happening inside. They install jammers to make sure that there is no communication possible. So that whole area is technologically equipped so that there is no communication between what's happening inside and what's happening outside.
Looking now to weather, dry and bright today with plenty of sunshine and just scattered cloud. Top temperatures will range from 14 to 18 degrees. That's all from the newsroom. Back again at 10 o'clock.
The McSpicy Frank's Red Hot is back. It's the McSpicy, but hotter. With 100% chicken breast fillet, melty cheese, fiery jalapenos, and that irresistible Frank's Red Hot mayo. McSpicy Frank's Red Hot. Make it hot. Available until the 17th of June. Serve from 11 a.m. Participating restaurants only, subject to availability.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning, and you're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. It's Greg Hughes with you for the next 3 hours, and it's going to be another busy 3 hours. And by the way, before we get into that, if you're out and about on the roads this morning, there's been a two-car collision at the Kilross Junction. Just outside Stranraer stroke Ballybofey there, and it's a busy junction anyway, okay? So if you are sitting in traffic there's been a two-car collision up at the junction, hopefully not serious. We've no details of the collision itself, but I do know there are tailbacks in the area, and often you'd be sitting wondering, well, what's going on? There you are. So we hope... these things do happen, so we hope it's just structural damage. We'll keep you updated on that, of course, throughout the day. And the news bulletins, or not throughout the day, we'll have an update for you in the next hour or so. Right, 086 60 25,000, that's the WhatsApp and text number. If you wish to get in touch with us, you can send your WhatsApp voice notes to that number as well. If you want to give us a call, 07491 25,000, and if email is your thing, comments at highlandradio.com. If you listen to the podcast or you listen to the replay overnight, you can email and we can include your opinions in the next live show. We'd love to hear your views whenever you're listening to us. And you can also watch the show as well. If you want to go onto YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, you can watch us on your smart TV or Fire Stick if you're at home. And we're on Facebook, X, and live on the Highland Radio website. Lots coming up today. We're going to be finding out what's exactly going to happen over the next wee while as the conclave is formed to elect a new pope. We've got business matters with Chris Ashmore and so much more, covering all the big issues of the day, as you can imagine. Let's start with a look at the papers. The Finn Valley Voice, not enough cross-border cooperation, says Shared Island report. We need initiatives on cross-border healthcare. We need reform of cross-border taxation. And we've made some good beginnings with cross-border tourism and energy issues, but we can do a great deal more. So says last week's report from Shared Ireland Project, launched by An Taoiseach Micheál Martin. Mr Martin established the initiative, which has crucial potential for Donegal during his previous stint as Taoiseach. That report must have overlooked the fact, whilst there is good progress being made in terms of tourism, if you're from outside the EU coming to the Republic of Ireland and you want to travel into the north, there's you have to register and pay a charge to the British government, which I don't think is positive, but overall there is positivity there. The next few stories are, I don't want you to think I'm being negative, but they're about the cost of living, and I think it's important we talk about it because many of you out there are struggling, or many just about, keeping your head above water, comfortable, but don't have any, gathered up wealth or can't seem to save. And a lot of that is down to how much money we have at the end of the week to spend. And unfortunately, as I say, there's a trend that seems almost unique to Ireland in some of our big bills, which leaves it no surprise that so many of us struggle to make ends meet. I'm going to start with motor insurance. And this is one of those ones that's frustrating because we've been told time and time again that insurance payouts are on the way down. That new measures were introduced that means payments have dropped year on year on year. So, automatically you'd imagine that means our car insurance gets cheaper, but not the case because motor insurance premiums have shot up by 12% in just 2 years, despite reforms. Motor insurance premiums shot up in the first 6 months of last year. The average premium is now €616. A rise of €67 since 2022, new data from the central bank shows. This is an increase of 12% in the last 2 years alone. The sharp rise comes despite the government introducing a number of reforms in an attempt to bring down the cost of insurance for motorists. Among the most significant of these was the agreement by judges to lower the recommended level of payouts in personal injury cases and changes in how the Injuries Resolution Board operates. That's what I was just referring to. Well, a dedicated Garda insurance fraud unit has been set up with changes to duty of care legislation, making it harder for those exaggerating compensation claims to get a payout. The Alliance for Insurance Reform, a campaign group, said the premium hikes call into question recommendations from judges to increase the size of damages awards. The Judicial Council has recommended hiking personal injury award guidelines by 16.7%. This needs to be confirmed by government. But why is our insurance going up when the insurance companies are making record profits and the claims are down? The report found 1.2 million motor policies were taken out in the first half of last year. Gross written premiums for those totaled 729 million, and 93% of the policies were for comprehensive cover. So that's that. But then here comes the electricity. You know, we have wind farms all over the place. Donegal has, you know, an awful lot of wind farms, more being planned. We hear that our electricity, at times 30% of our electricity is being generated through green measures. What's the just transition for us? Where's the benefit to that? Well, our electricity bills are €350 higher than the EU average, €350 per year. So simply by living in Ireland, your electricity is €350 higher than the EU average. So that means there are countries paying much, much less because this is an average. Again, what's the explanation for this? Irish households are paying the third most expensive electricity in Europe. Germany is the costliest, followed by Denmark and then Ireland, according to the data from the EU statistical agency Eurostat. The latest figures mean electricity is €350 a year more expensive here on average than in the rest of the EU. Calculations based on the Eurostat figures show electricity prices in this country are 30% above the European average. Gas prices in the country are the fifth highest in Europe. Energy bills have shot up the last few years in this country after Russia invaded Ukraine. The revelation comes after the government set its face against paying energy credits in the new budget. Sets its face. I'm not familiar with that term. Last month, SSE Electricity hiked electricity bills by 10.5% and gas bills by 8.4% in a move that will affect around 250,000 electricity customers and 85,000 gas customers. So it's blamed rising wholesale energy prices and higher network charges imposed by the energy regulator. But again, I shall ask, why are we paying €350 than the EU average more every single year for electricity? And then we go to your shopping basket, and we'll go to the Irish Daily Mail for this, because lots of you are reporting that the cost of your weekly shop's going up. I've seen it. I've received the messages on social media myself that people are saying, well, I thought inflation was coming down. Now, inflation, when inflation comes down, inflation still is there, right? So say, for instance, inflation is 10%, your food shop could go up by 10%, and then you go, well, it's dropped down to 3%. That seems good, right? Yes, but you're still seeing inflation of 3%. So a lot of stuff has gone up. Grocery inflation has more than doubled over the past 12 months. The price of shopping, basket staples, milk and meat, they're up over 10%, putting a further squeeze on family budgets. Price inflation in the supermarket stands at almost 5% compared to a year ago when inflation was at less than 2.4%, according to Kantar, which monitors thousands of prices every month. Despite ECB efforts to bring inflation under control, families are really starting to feel the pinch from the spiralling prices, said Michael Kilcoyne, chair of Consumers Association Ireland. So the worst price increase is sirloin steak up $2.10 or 12% per kilogram. A fillet of cod is up 10.5% per kilogram. Full fat milk is up 28 cents or 12.5% per litre. Onions up 9%. Tea bags up 13%. And on it goes. So your weekly shop is increasing all the while. By the way, the most popular supermarket in this country is Dunnes. Second is Tesco. Third is SuperValu, then Lidl and Aldi, which I wouldn't have put them in that order. But anyway, I suppose it depends on where you live and geography. So there you go. Like, I'm not being negative. It's just that we talk about it. So, I don't know, between grocery inflation, the rising cost of insurance, the excess we pay on our electricity simply for being Irish, it seems, you know, that's probably well in excess of €1,000, €2,000, depending on your family size. So it's not a bit wonder things feel tighter. The Irish Times this morning, Taoiseach Micheál Martin has accused Israel of war crimes over blocking aid from entering Gaza. Speaking at the Global Ireland Summit in Dublin yesterday, he said it was simply wrong in principle and in law to inflict hunger and suffering on a civilian population, whatever the circumstances. This behaviour clearly constitutes a war crime, he said. Mr. Martin said it had been more than 50 days since food, medicines and other essential supplies had been allowed into the area. Israel is continuing a humanitarian blockade and is pushing Gaza closer to a hunger crisis. This is a man-made famine, effectively. Mr. Martin said Ireland remained convinced that the implementation of a two-state solution was the only way to establish lasting peace. But we know Israel now is intent on going in and taking Gaza over indefinitely. Never have we been further from a two-state solution. I'm just wondering, as I read this next story, and I think we're going to speak about this a little later on, it really starts from a story down in County Cork, but I think it really applies to all of us across this country and beyond, and that's people filming tragic instances and sharing online. Or in fact, maybe filming things rather than calling an ambulance or the Gardaí or calling out help. And I'm just wondering, have any of you been affected by this and want to talk about it? We're going to be speaking to a Cork family or the friend of a young Cork lad that died. And he's looking for a law to be introduced to make it illegal, a crime effectively, the filming of tragic events to be outlawed. Now, as I say, I know this could be very difficult for some people listening, but maybe this is something that happened to you or someone in your family and you might support this campaign and maybe you want to speak publicly on it. I'll read the story, but if you do, 08660 25,000. The heartbroken family and friends of a man who drowned want the filming of tragic events to be outlawed. Luke Hyde died after getting into difficulty after swimming across the river from Pope's Quay to Lavitt's Quay in Cork last Wednesday. His pal made it across the channel, but Luke got into difficulty as he neared the quay wall and disappeared beneath the surface. Some onlookers began recording and live streaming the tragedy. Kellyanne Payton said Luke's family and friends are absolutely heartbroken following the tragic death. She said the decision by onlookers to film Luke, 33, while drowning was gut-wrenching. And that would stay with you, wouldn't it? That the last moments of someone close to you were being captured by video or being live streamed, even worse perhaps. His friend said there are 4 life buoys on each side of the river and nobody helped, but instead they videoed. So, as I say, we've seen situations with road traffic collisions and other instances as well where people, rather than help, I'm not sure what the rule is in this country. I certainly know I believe it's Portugal, it might be Spain, that it is a criminal offence not to offer someone help if they are in difficulty. Maybe we have something similar here. I'll check that out. The Irish Sun and all the papers report today that Armagh All-Ireland winner Aidan Nugent appeared in court yesterday accused of sexual assault. The 30-year-old ace was charged with 4 offences, all alleged to have been committed against one complainant on November 17th, 2024. Nugent faces 2 charges of sexual assault, 2 of causing or inciting a person to engage in a sexual activity, namely contact with his genitals. A PSNI detective said or told Armagh Magistrates Court sitting in Newry that he believed he could connect Nugent to each of the rapes. Now, I'm not sure of that terminology. You see that in all reports, it seems, as it relates to court cases in Northern Ireland about connecting someone to the charges. He's denied the charges. He says anything that happened was consensual. And you might remember that story doing the rounds last November. And lastly, Gerry Adams continues his case in the courts. And Gerry Adams has said IRA membership was not a path I took as he was quizzed about his past comments and Republican links during a libel trial. The 76-year-old said an attempt was being made to smother the jury in history. So as he was asked to recall events during the Troubles and the peace process, the former Sinn Féin leader said he would not speculate on IRA members or its rules while in the witness box as part of his defamation case against the BBC. Asked if there was no official record of IRA membership, and Mr. Adams said he supposed there was not. It wasn't a path I took, he said, adding that he instead joined Sinn Féin. He also told the court Sinn Féin was not the political wing of any organisation and said that the claim the party takes orders from someone in Connolly House is ridiculous. It's quite interesting that that's what they're talking about, because Mr. Adams gave evidence for a fifth day as part of his defamation case against the BBC at the High Court in Dublin. I won't try and paraphrase what the case is about. It's not in that. I know what it is about, but obviously because it's ongoing legal proceedings, I have to be somewhat careful. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApp and text number, or give us a call if you wish, and 074 91 25,000.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Len Europa Fui Washa Dív Galir. This May 9th, celebrate Europe Day. Celebrate EU funds in Ireland, supporting people, supporting jobs, supporting research and innovation. Celebrate our shared values of freedom, democracy, equality and the rule of law. To learn more and to be in with a chance to win a €100 voucher, visit eufunds.ie. T's and C's apply. Níart go Carla Hilla. Brought to you by EU Cohesion Policy Funds and the Government of Ireland.
Celebrating 50 years, McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tiles in Buncrana continues to be Donegal's go-to destination for stunning bathroom makeovers. With a vast selection of premium tiles and bathroom products, our showroom is your ultimate one-stop shop for crafting the perfect space. We've earned our reputation through expert advice, unbeatable prices and a dedication to customer satisfaction. Visit our showroom in Cockhill and Buncrana and see why we've been Donegal's top choice for 50 years and counting. Call us at 07493 63050.
Ready to order your 252 Nissan? Then get to iMotors Letterkenny from Thursday, May 15th to Sunday, May 18th. Explore the exciting new Nissan range with cutting-edge tech, bold design and unbeatable value. We're taking 252 orders now. Your perfect car built your way. Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday 12 to 4. Don't miss it.
iMotors, fearless generation. With over 1,000 TFI local link door-to-door services nationwide, if you're on our route, we're on our way. To use the service, simply pre-book the day before you want to travel with your TFI local link office. To find out more about door-to-door services in your area, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're transport for you.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €3.2 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
Now, the time is 9:21 on the button, in fact. You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We're joined on the programme now by Anna. Hi, Anna.
Good morning, Greg, and how are you this fine sunny morning?
I am doing good. The weather is beautiful. It might dip a little bit at the weekend, but more high pressure building next week, so we've more fine weather to look forward to.
Great. Well, we'll enjoy it while it's here.
We shall.
Great.
Now,
what I actually came on to complain about sort of fades into nothing when I measured it against the events that happened at the Doe Farm village on Saturday last.
Understood.
Could I say that my heart goes out to Pat and Magella, because I have brought people from all over the world to the famine village, from the cruise ships that dock at Greencastle, and my God, how they enjoyed every minute of it. So it's just so sad for to think of what work now will have to go into getting it back to what it was. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's that. But my complaint was, first of all, Greg, was about cyclists on the main road to Derry on Saturday. Myself and a friend were going on to Derry, and we noticed a line of traffic in and around the Chure area. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the area down there, but around the Chure, there's a beautiful, beautiful greenway from Quigley's Point right up almost to Muff.
That's right.
And there were the line of traffic was being held up by 4 cyclists out on the main road, not on the greenway. They were out on the main road instead of being in where they should have been. And that was, they didn't even go into single file. They didn't even go into single file to allow the traffic to pass, and there was a line of traffic behind them. So I just thought that I would mention it here, because the money that was spent on these greenways, I mean, what was the point in spending all that kind of money if it's not going to be used for the purpose for which it was constructed or built or whatever you like?
Well, 34, not for this one particular stretch, but 34 million euro is being spent on greenways between Donegal, County Council and Derry City, and this was lauded. You know, I think it's about 5 kilometres, if I'm not mistaken, as you know, a jewel in the crown for the area. But it's frustrating, isn't it, for motorists if it's sitting there somewhat idle while cyclists are out on the main thoroughfare.
Yes, they didn't even go into single file to allow the traffic to pass. They were in twos.
Is it possible that they might have been in their Tour de France gear and all that kind of stuff? 6 million, by the way, 6 million this Muff to Quigley's Point Greenway cost, which is quite a lot of money. Is it possible that that's for leisure cycling, Anna, and that these guys, and they could be boys or girls, you know what I mean, that these were sort of like semi-pro sport kind of riders and they didn't want to take their bikes onto the leisurely path?
Well, I don't see why not, because, I mean, I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's wide enough for 4 cyclists.
For sure, it's beautiful, yeah.
It really is. It really is. At first, I thought to myself, what a waste of money, like, you know, this type of thing. But when you see it completed, it really is nice, and it's a beautiful area for people who have prams and things like that, or if people just want to go and sit and look out over the foil and that. It really is beautiful. I have to congratulate them. They really made a lovely job of it.
I think, though, maybe you've hit on something there in that, you know, there could be pedestrians on it or people walking prams. A lot of these cyclists, you know, they could tip along at 30, 40 kilometres per hour, and maybe it's safer for them on the road than on the greenway.
Well, these seemed to be leisurely cyclists anyway. They certainly weren't taking part in a race or that.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get into trouble with cyclists, Anna, you understand. I think most people listening would agree with you. I'm not trying to be argumentative, don't get me wrong. There is another element to that stretch of road as well, and that's safety, Anna. You know, it is quite kind of dangerous stretch of road. Unfortunately, history has told us that. So again, maybe that's another element to your argument that should be considered, that you know, cyclists 2 or 3 abreast, there's obviously a significant danger to that, as well as a disruption to the traffic.
Well, that's my grudge over for the day, Greg.
Right, Anna, listen, we'll see what others think. Thanks so very much indeed. 08660 25,000. Anna saying quite clearly herself there, 6 million euros spent on this greenway between Quigley's Point and Muff. She's travelling at it the weekend, and traffic being held up behind cyclists not using it. Should there be a compulsion, do you believe, for cyclists to use it? Staying with the roads, and we talked about scooters yesterday, and this listener says, I was very interested to hear Garda Grania Doherty talking about e-scooter use. I've contacted the Gardaí in Letterkenny by phone and by email on a number of occasions in relation to e-scooters travelling on footpaths around town. I regularly walk around the town and inevitably see e-scooters travelling on footpaths. It seems to me that the law re e-scooters travelling on footpaths is not being implemented here. I've narrowly missed being knocked down twice. I think this would make a very interesting topic to be discussed on your programme, and of course it is something, and that was Mary text that in, it is something that comes up from time to time. I suppose you could argue that the information piece we did yesterday, trying to get the absolute rules of the road out there, is part of the campaign, but I know what you're saying. Enforcement is what's needed, and if there is enforcement, I suppose the message doesn't belong getting around. Some of your comments coming in so far this morning. Why are the Gardaí at Strand Hotel? Are they new security for the business people? I don't know what the story is there. I do believe some of the parking around that facility has been blocked overnight, and it might have been used by adjacent businesses or locals. I don't know what the ups and downs of that are. I imagine it's private parking, and I suppose whoever owns it can do with it what they will, however they might choose to do that. Greg, why do you always refer to truthful facts as being negative? Truth is truth. It's got nothing to do with being negative. That comes in from Mary. Mary, I suppose it's just, if you're on about the newspapers, I suppose just when you're kicking off the show, and sometimes I'll be conscious that maybe listeners think that all we talk about on the show is negative stuff, which is not true. You know, we platform an awful lot of different stuff and lots of positive stuff as well. And I suppose I was just a wee bit conscious this morning that I was going to be starting off with 3 negative stories in the newspapers. But I take your point. The truth is the truth. So I was literally just explaining that's the God's honest truth as to why I said that. Hi, Greg. I was sent by NowDoc to get my ankle x-rayed. I arrived at the ED at 8 p.m. last night. I waited all night and I've just been called this morning at 8:30 a.m. I live an hour's drive away from the hospital, so it's been a long night. I can imagine so, and I hope it's not. I hope it's not broken. I'm not really sure of the ins and outs of that. I believe I covered this story in the past, and I'll get clarification on it. Is it possible that the facilities or the staff that do x-rays actually don't come into work? Their next shift is at 8 or 8:30, and perhaps maybe you spent the whole night there with no chance of being called. I seem to recall a story about a purple room or something. I'll double check all of that, or maybe someone in the know will let me know. Concrete bollards have been put up around the Strand Hotel in Ballyliffin. Yes, I just referenced that, and I've got a lot of videos of that from people in the local area. Ironing boards in Lidl in Donegal Town, Greg, get one on your way home. Okay, are they the little ones or the big ones, though? I don't really need a big one. But also, what do I do with my old ironing board? What do we do with our own ironing board, I should say? Is it not? It's one of the smaller ones. I don't think it's retrievable, but it's a big piece of metal, and it's gonna, you know where it's going to end up, the side of the house. I started feeding my dog tuna. There were worms in the can. I told the shopkeeper and he told me that was natural. What? Worms in a can of tuna? Was it like for human consumption, or is it dog tuna? Pardon my ignorance, I don't have a dog. Please, I want more information on that. Was it like a regular tin of tuna and there were worms in it, or is there specific tuna for dogs? And are worms in that can normal? In any case, that does not sound right. The hotel and main central car park in Ballyliffin has been blocked off with huge concrete bollards blocks overnight. I feel sorry for the villagers of Ballyliffin, which was always a scenic escape for us townies and city folk. I've seen them. They don't look terribly pretty, I'm not going to lie. Greg, that's no excuse for a shirt that's not ironed properly. I have the same problem with my iron board cover and ironed for an hour yesterday. No creases. You didn't. That's not true. Not if you had the same problems as me. And don't listen to Lee Gooch either. My shirt's ironed fine. And he wears fleeces so he doesn't have to iron, or old woolen shirts that he gets that don't require ironing. So at least I'm trying. Okay, listen, thanks for all of that. Our next guest is going to be joining us on the show in just a mo. Stay right where you are.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Get ready, Donegal. The Letterkenny Motor Show is back, happening Saturday 10th of May from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the ATU campus. See the latest new cars and vans from 11 local dealerships showcasing 20 top motor brands all in one place on one day. Brought to you by your local franchise motor dealers, it's a day to celebrate driving, style and innovation. With entertainment and fun for the whole family, this is one show you don't want to miss. Proudly supported by First Citizen Finance, Letterkenny Chamber, the Society of the Irish Motor Industry and Britain Insurance. Visit letterkennymotorshow.ie for full details.
Do you sometimes struggle to hear? It could just be earwax and it's easily treated. Hidden Hearing right now are offering free earwax removal for everyone over 60, carried out by our qualified earwax technicians. Call 1-800-370-000 or go to hiddenhearing.ie. Hidden Hearing, your hearing is our expertise. T's and C's apply.
Summer is just around the corner and it's now time to shop for your dream garden furniture at Easy Living Furniture. We've got a huge range of garden furniture and accessories at unbeatable prices. And if that's not enough, we'll throw in free delivery on all garden furniture. Transform your garden or patio for the ultimate alfresco dining experience. Don't miss out. Come in today to grab these incredible deals before they're gone. Only at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link, Derry, Londonderry.
Are you renovating your home or moving house? Either way, it may require a clear out. Before you fill your skip with items you no longer need, think circular and ask yourself, can the item be reused, given to family or friends, recycled, donated to charity, or even sold. So think before you skip it. Go to mywaste.ie for help and suggestions on how to do a clear out in an efficient and circular way. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Get the moss problems in your lawn sorted with Mobacter, the natural product to remove moss from your lawn. Apply Mobacter now and forget, no raking necessary. Mobacter will feed your lawn for 100 days and will not stain your patio areas. Mobacter is the only moss remover approved by the Royal Horticultural Society. Mobacter Lawn Fertiliser for beautiful green, moss-free lawns from your local co-ops and garden stores. Check out mobacter.ie for all Viano products or find us on Facebook.
Now we are joined on the programme by Paula Leonard, CEO of Alcohol Forum Ireland. Paula, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, yesterday we learned that there seems to be a loophole in the law whereby non-alcoholic beers can be sold to minors in pubs. Now, there's two things going on here. Is this actually happening? Or, has someone found a loophole and made a story out of it? I find it hard to imagine, although anything's possible, isn't it, that adults are bringing their kids or young people underage into a bar and buying them a Heineken 00 or Guinness 00. But we can't allow that to happen, surely.
I think, first of all, the question you first asked is it happening? And we would believe anecdotally that it is.
Right.
And we would also know that Ireland's not the first country for this to be happening in, and for it to be causing sort of concern from, parents, also from the licensed trade, actually, because they're saying this is a really confusing issue. Essentially, the global alcohol industry is really pushing the low and no alcohol products. They're pushing the advertising of it as a way to get around, any restrictions on advertising. But also they know very well that young people are now using it as a gateway drug. It's initiating people into the taste of beer, the look of beer, the holding of a pint, looking older aspirationally. It's something that young people now are doing.
And I suppose too, Paula, as you say, you've alluded to it a little earlier on, right? So, if you are a young rugby fan and all of your heroes are running across Guinness 00 and you can access that, and then potentially become a alcohol drinker, you can sort of see what's going on. It's, are they targeting our kids?
Absolutely, they're targeting our kids, and they're targeting them with the marketing very much so. And there is some research that's just coming out in Australia to say that young people can't and don't differentiate between the advertising of low and no alcohol products and alcohol products. We're also seeing them, the Irish government took very strong action to remove alcoholic products from the main, corridors within our shops and our supermarkets. But now we're seeing the low and no just outside of those gated areas where they're in full view of children. And in fact, the advertising of them is very beautiful. You have these sort of neon blue, fridges and everything. They're very attractive to the eye. They're very attractive to young people. And young people, we know, first of all, we know that advertising and marketing impacts and imprints on their brain in a different way. And we know that they differentiate very poorly between sort of products and brands. Brands are more important to them in terms of what they can see and what they can identify and know. So I think it's a real concern, and I'm really welcome the fact that Alan Kelly has raised this as a question, because it very clearly lies with the Minister for Justice. No matter how difficult it is, it does lie with the Minister for Justice to sort of, legislate for that, or at least make a statement saying. And essentially, for example, Guinness 00 is Guinness, was brewed as Guinness, was brewed as alcoholic Guinness, and then the alcohol's taken out later. So the taste piece of this is really key in terms of young people. And I think it's very hard for the licensed trade to have to sort of, be the guardians for that or make judgments for that without any sort of instruction or guidance from the Department of Justice.
Yeah, I'm not sure how true it is, but I was told once that the big push for the ice cold beers was because it deadened the taste, and for new drinkers they might be more inclined to try it. So that was another approach that was for the general population, but particularly appealing to young people, because alcohol, actually, I don't think, Guinness, Smithwick's, Heineken, whatever it is, I don't think it actually tastes particularly nice, certainly not the first one in any case. I think too also, and I'll put this to my next guest as well, Paula, I think licence holders deserve a bit of clarity in this regard as well, because what is their position on refusing? Because as you say, you're not the only person that's heard anecdotally this is happening. So if someone tries to order a Guinness 0.0, for an example, for a 14-year-old, can the bar owner legally say no?
Yeah, I think it's really unfair actually to have this sort of confusion, both for parents and for the licensed trade. I think both, because parents, there's such heavy advertising and marketing of the 0.0 at the moment. We're on today to talk about the serving of those drinks to children and under 18s in licensed premises, but what's actually happening in homes? Do you know what I mean? So we have a whole generation of people now where their parents don't have guidance around whether or not these drinks should and could be served at home.
Does some parents see it cute? Some parents see it cute for a rite of passage 13, 14, 15-year-old having an alcohol-free at a family barbecue? I don't know, actually. I never thought about it from that angle.
And like what I do know is that, a lot of people who are in recovery from sort of alcohol substance use disorders would avoid low and no alcohol products because they feel like triggers. They taste the same, they look the same, psychologically they seem the same. So if you take that and you think about that through the eyes of a child, you're doing something that is habituating you and socializing you into, alcohol being a normal behavior and a normal piece of life that we should be engaging in. And I think it's very worrying, but look, I think it's timely. These things will always come along to challenge public health and to challenge legislators. And sometimes there's a lag. And I think, the guidance from government needs to catch up. I'll be interested to hear what your next guest has to say on it as well.
Indeed. And that's Councillor Martin Harley, who's chair of the Donegal Vintners Federation and a bar owner himself. Martin, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Greg. Morning, Paula.
This is not something I understand that you've been asked, but members have reported that it has happened.
It has happened in different places throughout the county and nationally. And I know it's an issue. I know that national conference is on next week, and there is a motion at national conference next week for the Minister for Justice to clarify that. Because there's a grey area, and unfortunately some of our members, what came up first to, one of our members was that where people come into the premises and the parents of the child asked for an alcohol drink for the child, and the bartender refused them, and they all left. So it was it put the public in a very awkward situation. But we have to be realistic as well. I think, Paula, you mentioned as well there, like you take some of the drinks, there's 0.07% alcohol in some of those drinks. So there's still alcohol in them. If they're under 18, you shouldn't serve them alcohol.
Yeah.
So like it's a perception as well, Greg. You take it, if you were in a bar and you've seen a young teenager, and you've seen a bottle of Heineken from a distance, if you're walking,
you wouldn't know the difference.
It could look like a bottle of Heineken. Normal bottle of Heineken. So it's a perception for our members as well, and
But I suppose, Martin, if they were drinking it out of a pint glass, you may have no way of knowing.
You may have no way of knowing, and the next time they go up to the bar, they could hold their hand over the 0.0 and say to the bartender, "Give me one of those."
Yeah.
And the bartender just looks like Heineken, don't realise it's 0.0. So it's a perception, and we have a duty of care as bar owners and bartenders. We have a duty of care, and we'll be told that by the courts as well. If somebody is taken to court, we'll be always told that. We'll use a duty of care to the people coming onto your premises. So we need clarity on this.
And this motion that's coming up next week, that would have been sort of put on the agenda some time ago, would it?
Well, I'd say in the last, the motions would have been in, I'd say, for about 4 weeks ago, 4 to 6 weeks ago.
My point is, and credit where it's due, whilst this story is sort of broken from a political perspective, it is the industry itself, the regular members that actually were seeking to put this on the agenda.
Yeah. Well, it'll be coming in from some of the counties that had the issues with this. That's normally the way it works. Each county would put in a few motions if there was something that was that was important at the time that they feel needs to be discussed. Plus, the other thing that's come up as well is vaping in bars. I mean, that's another issue that we want clarity on as well.
Say that one more time.
On vaping in bars that we want. We would like the Minister for Justice to come out clearly on that as well, because we don't actually know what's in vapes. I mean, we have there's no historical evidence as to what's in vapes, and I'd be worried about that into the future as well. So
could that become the next passive smoking for your staff or yourself for that matter?
There's a possibility. I mean, we have no. I mean, as we know, it took many years to take first cigarettes to be banned in bars till we realised the damage that it was doing to staff and to other customers who weren't smokers. So we haven't got that historical evidence on vaping as well. So that's another issue that's coming up at our national conference.
I know your focus is on alcohol, Paula, but there is a crossover there in that vaping, fruity vapes, and all that kind of stuff, a gateway to tobacco or nicotine additional tobacco usage. And is that what we're seeing with 0.0? 0.0 has been a great thing for adults and stuff, right? But that's the way it's being marketed, and they have to look at the next generation coming through. I think you described it as a gateway a little earlier.
I think it's really a good point, Martin has raised, because public health does play catch up. So industry looks at, what are the new ways of selling any product? And the tobacco industry has moved into sort of vaping. And Martin's absolutely right. Getting the ban on, tobacco and getting the plain packaging and getting bans on advertising, all of those things took a very long time. But now we feel that the evidence is unequivocal. We absolutely, everybody on the street is able to tell you the link between smoking and cancer. So now public health is going to have to play catch up again. And parents are looking for clarity around vaping, and schools in particular are looking for clarity around vaping, because, Martin's absolutely right. There isn't an ingredient list. We don't know what's in them. All of those things have to be addressed. And I think actually it would be very timely for the Ministers for Health and the Ministers for Justice to have a joint discussion on, the products that are sort of moving faster, that the industry is pushing out and that we now need to play catch up on.
Just on the vaping,
the two good examples.
Yeah, on the vaping, Martin, too. I don't know what the guidance is, but if you look around, you'll see people who might discreetly vape, and you wouldn't even know they were, and then others that blow smoke rings. I was sitting in a restaurant there not so long ago, and there was 3 around a table, and it was like being in a disco. It didn't put me up or down, because I just get on with my own stuff, if you know what I mean. But I can see where the problem is from do you as a bar owner, I'm not saying in your case, but do you walk over to that table and say, look, lads, but you need the rules to back you up.
In fairness to a lot of people who do vape, they would ask you, is it okay to vape on the premises? I mean, in fairness, a lot of people would, I think since the smoking ban came in, people would ask that. And so I don't think it would be an issue if the government came down clearly and said, the Minister of Justice came down clearly and said that no vaping was allowed indoors, similar to no smoking. And I think people would get on with it. They would just they would go outside and vape the same as the smokers. So I think we should nip it in the bud now before it goes on too long, before another generation gets into it. So I think there's a time there now that we could address those issues, whether the 0.0 alcohol and the vaping.
Martin, it's been a fascinating insight because I've come from a position of ignorance in that I just thought this wouldn't happen. I thought people wouldn't I thought they'd be afraid of how people might judge them or how it might look or what have you. But to hear that members in Donegal have been asked to serve 0.0, although it's 0.07, and then families or groups leaving because it wasn't served, does make you then, to your point, Paula, wonder if that's happening in public, what's happening in the home.
Yeah, and I think, parents, in general, parents want to do what's right for their children. But guidance from government is really important in terms of establishing health messaging, in terms of saying, look, this is the guidance in relation to 0.0. I mean, Martin's absolutely right. If it's the 0.7 within the law, you're not to serve to an under 18. I mean, that's absolutely clear if there's any percentage of alcohol in it. But I think that because they're sold as a package and everything is a little bit blurry, we need to have guidance on that. For example, on the alcohol health labelling, there are pregnancy sort of issues that people need to think about, because 0.7 isn't no alcohol. 0.7 is very low percentage of alcohol.
It might be,
And
it might be 0.07, I think.
Yeah, but it's 0.07. Yeah, but the health advice for alcohol use during pregnancy is that no level of alcohol consumption during pregnancy is safe. So even those residual amounts, these are something that we need sort of clear guidance on. And I think that we shouldn't sort of maybe package them together as closely as low and no. It should be no. We need the clarity on that in relation to under 18s, and the low, we need those health sort of messaging to be really clear on it.
Yeah.
And it's up to government, because the industry is not going to self-regulate on this.
Paula Leonard, thank you very much indeed for that. I appreciate it. Paula Leonard, CEO of Alcohol Forum Ireland. Martin, how is the share of low alcohol, non-alcohol beers been growing in your average pub, if you know what I mean? I can imagine in certain places we know the popularity is increasing, but is it sort of almost measurable now that, like 10% is 0.0?
It wouldn't be 10% now, but you'd be probably looking up between 5 and 10.
Yeah.
I mean, possibly it is increasing, and plus there are probably a range of maybe where you started off at the start, you would have had maybe Guinness 0.0 and maybe one lager. Now you could have you have spirits that are 0.0, you have gin 0.0, and you have different. So there's like most pubs there would have maybe 5 or 6 different varieties.
But I suppose it's good for pubs too, because people can go out and socialise, and they don't have to sit. There's nothing drinking soft drinks or what have you. And not everyone wants the effects of alcohol. That's good, but and we need to keep that for adults and protect our kids. And it's great to see the Vintners Federation sort of actually driving the agenda in this one. Credit where it's due, I think, is always fair.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's good that people, as you say, not everybody wants to drink soft drinks, and if they can have something, they're quite happy, and it's safe to drive home as well. So,
well, one of my worst ever hangovers was Coke. Drank about 5 pints of Coke. Listen, thanks very much, Martin. Take care of yourself as always. And Paula Leonard there, CEO of Alcohol Forum Ireland. Martin Harley, of course, a councillor, but he's chair of the Donegal Vintners Federation and a landlord, I think is the phraseology, himself as well. We asked the same question on social media. It's a difficult one on social media, I think, this kind of a question, because you might have one opinion, and then, if you are in favour of it, you might not want to post it on social media in case of backlash. But generally speaking, Jeffrey, Niall, Margaret, Louise, Lorna, Dolores all said no. Margaret was of the view yes, so the majority of people saying no. And I'm not one to judge. I don't know. But I mean, parents, some parents are of the approach that a teenager of a certain age in the house, a little bit of alcohol to get them used to. I'm not judging anyone. I wouldn't judge anyone, but I think a situation whereby, young people going into a pub and getting into that scene, even though they're not getting drunk, it doesn't feel right to me anyway. Greg, it says 0.0 on the bottle. Who's lying? But there's draft. You wouldn't know 0.0 from not 0.0. And the bottles are pretty similar. It wouldn't be hard to obscure the 0.0. Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. I know what you're saying. I presume 0.07 is technically 0.0 because 0.0 then the 7. So I would say there's a couple of ways around that. It's a tiny amount of alcohol, but it is alcohol. There's probably, you'd probably get higher readings eating white bread, if the truth be told. Okay, so interesting one. Want your views on that? 08660 25,000. Give us a call too if you prefer. 07491 25,000. It's Wednesday's 9 till noon show.
Do you have a job vacancy that needs filled fast? Tried everything but still no luck? Let Highland Radio's Job Spot do the work for you. We'll share your vacancies with 70,000 daily listeners in Donegal, Derry and Tyrone every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during prime time. Plus your jobs will be listed on highlandradio.com under our Job Spots section. It's fast, cost effective and reaches the people you need. Contact our advertising team today on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, delivering your message across the Northwest.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend, we stock recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses, curtains and rugs, and don't forget our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane, not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
Celebrate your love at Anchorage Hotel, nestled in the heart of Donegal. With breathtaking views of Errigal Mountain and elegant surroundings, our venue offers the perfect setting for your special day. Experience exceptional service and create unforgettable memories. Discover more at anchoragehotel.com.
FBD doesn't stand for Friendly Business Ducks or Freelance Beatbox Department. FBD stands for support. We support businesses and communities across Ireland. Visit your local branch to talk to your FBD insurance team and see how we can support your business. FBD Insurance. Support. It's what we do. FBD Insurance Group Limited, trading as FBD Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
For expert advice to help you feel well and stay well, call to our friendly team at Brennan's Pharmacy Letterkenny. Choose from quality nutritional ranges like NutriBurst, Dr. Claire and Together Health. Easy free parking across from Costa at the New Dunn stores. We want to help you live well and stay well at Brennan's Pharmacy Letterkenny. We're here for you.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Dry and bright today with plenty of sunshine, just scattered cloud. Top temperatures 15 to 18 degrees. There might be a slight downturn in the weather Saturday, particularly Sunday. We might not see the worst of it here, just the odd shower, but the weather's going to pick up again next week, I'm told. Right, Tom, yours is a situation that unfortunately a lot of people find themselves in. You can't build on your own land, and we are desperate for houses.
Yeah. Well, it was my wife had texted on yesterday.
Right.
But she says maybe I'd go on and talk instead.
That's okay, isn't it? So what's your situation? You're a young family, there's 6 of you, and you would like your own property and your own land.
Yeah, well, that's it. Hey, we're renting this last 11 years in this household. And, well, we're probably lucky enough to have somewhere to rent under the current circumstances. But, hey, at any time that the ones that own this house could say, we're going to sell it, we're bump the rent up again or anything, you know. So we had a plan for in 2019 for the council to do your SI housing.
Yep.
On your land. But we got through all the lot of documents and stuff done, but there was no money at the time for the SI housing. So somebody advised us we just try and get some planning on it to start with. So we went ahead and tried to get a bit of planning, and we got vision lines signed from the neighbouring farmers and all, you know, and actually knocked down a wall and rebuilt a wall back from it to make the vision lines good and all and everything. And that was all right. Like, things kind of settled down a bit. There wasn't much word then. It was kind of a bit of to and froing from the council. But we eventually, with a local councillor on board as well, and we eventually got them out to view the ground, and they said it's not ideal because it's behind. It's my wife's sister has a house at the front, and then the next bit of land's behind that. So they said, well, it wasn't ideal because it's behind, but they might be able to make something work. So we thought, that's
now your sister-in-law has no objections to the location of your house. That's interesting.
No, she has no objections. Yeah. No, like, she'd be obviously happy if we got
of course
a house of her own. But anyway, as I said, they says that's not great, but we might be able to make something more. So anyway, a couple of years later, after I say toing and froing with them, we did get a letter out then last year, August 24, to say to provide evidence on your vision lines and stuff, but we had this already done, handed in previously, so it was kind of like, well, that's kind of a step back again. But anyway, so we got on to them to try and get a meeting to find out about this and get, so then the councillor got on to them to try and get more information on it. And they did send out engineers and stuff. And then on March 25, then we got a letter back to say, our planning section have confirmed that the provision of a dwelling on the site proposed by you for the SI cottage is considered contrary to the policy set out in the development plan. So basically, we're not even sure. Does that mean zero, no chance at all? we've been trying to get through to the council since, and the phone you've been passed from here to there. We're trying to get a meeting with them to find out, like, does that mean no hope at all?
Yeah, or is there something else you can do?
Is there something else we can do? But
and is this in a rural area, close to a town, Tom?
Yes. That's I'll tell you, it's in Ramelton. We're just under 5k outside the town.
Mm. So, I mean, like, if you were able to progress with yours, that would free up the house you're renting for another family. As you say, in a house in crisis, it doesn't make a great deal of sense. Listen, we're right up against the 10 o'clock news, Tom. Thanks for that. If you can sort of relate to what Tom is saying, or if you have any insight into that, please do let us know.
Ahead of the busy summer season, why not have your children's eyes checked at Inish Eye Care in Carndonna and Buncrana? Right now, when you buy one pair of children's glasses, you'll get a second pair free. Some terms and conditions apply. To see the full range of children's glasses available, call into Inish Eye Care at Carndonna Shopping Centre or Ardravin Square, Buncrana.
Indulge yourself with friends or a loved one at the Spa at Orchids at the Holyrood Hotel in Bundoran. A midweek or weekend spa break is the perfect way to escape from life for a while. Take a leisurely walk along the Atlantic coast. Enjoy a dip in our private pool, a plunge in our Canadian hot tub, and treatments of your choice before dining in one of the Holyrood Hotel's acclaimed restaurants. The Spa at Orchids. Book now at holyroodhotel.com.
Getting your first electric car is like meeting your partner's family for the first time. Nerves are normal. You were stressed about awkward silence with her dad. Now you chat for hours about sport. You're worried her mum wouldn't like you. Now she likes you better than her own son. Likewise, once you experience how great an EV can be, you'll never look back, especially if it's a Skoda. Order your electric Enyaq or Elrock today.
Skoda.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
If you're looking for a competitive insurance quote, contact Hickey Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers in Letterkenny. Home, car or van insurance, farm, commercial or public liability insurance. They compare quotes from all the leading insurers so you get a great price. Call Hickey Clark and Langan on 91 26688 or call into the office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. A number of appointments have been made in Garda Síochána in Donegal in line with the Garda operating model. The restructuring is being introduced as part of the Policing Service for the Future plan, recommended by both the Commission of Future Policing in Ireland and the Garda Inspectorate. With more, here's Tara Duggan.
Detective Superintendent Sean Grant, based in the Buncrana Garda station, has responsibility for the Donegal Crime Functional Area, which encompasses the most serious crime in the Donegal division. Specialist units will be attached to this functional area and will support community engagement. Superintendent David Kelly in Milford Garda Station has responsibility for Donegal Performance Assurance functional area, meaning he'll now be responsible for things such as governance and courts within the division. The specialist knowledge brought by this functional area will allow the community engagement and crime superintendents and inspectors to focus on the delivery of an operational service to the public. Finally, Superintendent Karen Duffy in Ballyshannon Garda Station has responsibility for Donegal's South Community Engagement functional area, covering frontline core policing.
Almost 9 in 10 houses delivered by approved housing bodies last year were new builds. The latest Housing Association Activity Report found AHBs provided 4,385 new social homes, 41% of the total social housing stock delivered last year. The Irish Council for Social Housing says it's vital any obstacles to project approvals or funding bottlenecks are anticipated and removed. Chief Executive Donald McManus says a housing czar might just help them achieve their targets.
Anybody or any office that is in place that can resolve these problems, is certainly worthwhile doing. But obviously that's a political issue for government. But certainly there are a number of challenges at the moment we think could overcome when there's a czar or any other body set up.
Overcrowding and low staffing levels will once again be the biggest issues addressed at the INMO annual conference today. Delegates from around the country have gathered in Wexford to discuss the future of nursing and midwifery here. The organisation says it will put the case for ensuring safe staffing levels in legislation to the Health Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeil when she speaks at the event tomorrow. Vilny Hay says it's the best way to keep patients safe.
We simply do not accept that year on year we should be seeking and having to ballot our members in order to bring about an orderly recruitment process. There's a better way, and it's that it's legislated for, and if everybody's interested in the best outcome for patients, the best outcome for patients is that there are enough staff to look after them.
€65,000 has been awarded to CLG and Cloghan for the provision of fences, scoreboards, goalposts and dugouts for the new pitch there. Donegal Deputy Pat the Cope Gallagher confirmed that the funding was approved for the Dunloe Club by the Gaeltacht Minister for the works which are already at an advanced stage. It's expected that the first match will be played next spring. Ireland is the third most expensive country in Europe for electricity. Prices here are at 30% or around €350 a year, higher than the EU average and exceeded by only Germany and Denmark. About half of our electricity is generated through gas, with gas prices here at the fifth highest in Europe according to Eurostat. Personal finance editor with the Irish Independent, Charlie Weston, explains why we're paying so much.
It's essentially the way the system is set up in this country. We're very uncompetitive when it comes to electricity. I suppose the main reason is because we use so much gas, imported gas essentially. 80% of the gas we use is imported and the other 20% is coming from Corrib, but they get the same price, the international price. And gas, imported gas, it's very volatile in price. It's very expensive.
Meanwhile, Irish drivers face higher insurance costs amid proposed legal changes. The Alliance for Insurance Reform is urging a public debate on a proposed 17% hike in personal injury awards. It says premiums would be pushed up higher, with motorists already under a heavy financial burden. Premiums in Ireland increased 9% in the first half of last year. CEO of the Alliance for Insurance Reform, Brian Hanley, says timing would be all wrong if it went this way.
Now, the government itself can do something, and that is to not increase personal injury awards at this time, because not only will it increase premiums, but they're looking to develop a new action plan for insurance reform. And if they put premium increases now, it's going to set that plan on the back foot before it's even started.
Having a look now to weather, dry and bright today with plenty of sunshine and some scattered cloud. Top temperatures will generally range from 14 to 18 degrees, coolest along the north coast. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with headlines at 11. The obituary notices this Wednesday morning, May 7th. The death has taken place of Margaret McConnell, Marble Crescent, Carryduff, Belfast, and formerly of Manor Cunningham, County Donegal. Margaret's remains will arrive at Ray Presbyterian Church Graveyard, Manor Cunningham, for burial tomorrow at 3 p.m. A funeral service of thanksgiving for the life of Margaret will take place at 12 noon on Friday at Carryduff Presbyterian Church, Belfast. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice Care of any family member. The death has occurred of Michael McO'Dowd, Bunbeg, Gweedore, formerly of Ballisadair, County Sligo. His remains will repose at his home today from 1 p.m. until 8 o'clock. Rosaries at 8 p.m. with house private after please and on the morning of the funeral. Funeral Mass will take place tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock in the Church of the Sacred Heart, Dunlewy. Interments afterwards in Maharagan Cemetery, Gweedore. The funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has occurred of Philomena Murphy, 84, Ard McCool, Stranorlar. Remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving there this morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar at 11 a.m. Interment in St Mary's Churchyard, Sessionale. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio. Jenny loves spring. Sun on her face and a crisp cold specially selected kombucha from Aldi in her hand. It's picnic time. Uh-oh, wasps. Usually she'd freak out, but all the specially selected olives, relish and Gortnamona Irish goat's cheese have her feeling so at one with nature. She's thinking maybe wasps are just misunderstood. Now nothing can stop her enjoying picnic season. Not even that. Good food, good mood. From Aldi.
A caller says vapes need to be made illegal indoors. I totally agree. Doesn't matter where you are now. Maybe it be a bar, a cinema, or even I had an encounter where a man started vaping in the steam room in a leisure centre. It's disgusting, and it's all you breathe anywhere you go. Well, that's a fresh one. Vaping in the steam room. A listener would like to know if there's any clubs or meeting places for widows and widowers, sort of a single mingles night anywhere in the northwest for 50s and 60s. That's an interesting one. Because 50s and 60s now, it's still young. It's always been young, but it's particularly young now. People are in good health. Maybe they're widowed. Is there any meetups? Maybe you are a person in your 50s or 60s and you've got some suggestions on how to meet other people. Sort of like a single mingles night they're looking for. Let us know. 086 60 25,000. I always thought it would be a middling thing for Highland Radio to organise. I think I suggested at one point sort of like a singles nights for, people in the 40s, 50s and 60s. Hi, Greg. Allegedly, the Strand Hotel is being turned into an iPass centre with allegedly 150 men coming in. Listeners' thoughts on this? Kind of, sometimes you get texts from people that they don't listen. We discussed this for an hour yesterday. It is not being currently considered, but there's a Section 5 for it to be used as an iPass centre, and the decision on that's still pending. The council sought further information a couple of months ago, so we don't know what the story is. If that Section 5 is granted, it might be reconsidered. We don't know. And we certainly don't know who's going into it, because you don't know in advance of any of these places. Hi, Greg. That lady you had on in the first hour is correct. Greenways made. We sat in traffic lights for months for these greenways, and you dare say the cyclists were sconed off with the delays? So when they cycle now, remember how long we all sat at the lights for your paths to be made, okay? And they're not using them. You sound a little bit like Paul Cannon now, Greg. If there's a cycle lane, they should be using it, same as these boy racers should be, but off the road. No, my point is that it depends on the type of cyclists, okay? I know for a fact, and I'm only stating facts, I'm spitting truth, is that some of these bikes go 40 kilometres per hour. People dressed up like they're going on the Tour de France, and I don't mean that badly, it's just how else do you describe it? And those bikes have tiny wheels, and they've argued in the past that these cycleways aren't suitable for them, with people walking and pushing prams and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying where they should cycle. That's not my job. I'm just pointing out some counter arguments to it. And Anna's a clever lady and is able to have that convo with me. Bikes are allowed to ride two abreast. Greenways, exactly as you said, more sedate leisure ways. Get over it, not a cyclist, okay? Broken ankle 5 weeks ago, Letterkenny Hospital, all done 4 hours from mid-afternoon. Amazing experience, great staff, good to hear that too. That's off the back of another person who went into the hospital at 8 o'clock yesterday with a suspected fractured ankle and didn't get seen to 8:30 this morning. So there's one person's experience, 4 hours done and dusted, another person's 12 hours and not seen yet. I broke my ankle and I had the same experience as your caller. I sat on my own in a wheelchair so long and ended up being told in the morning there was no one to do the x-ray because I was on my own. I had to call the hospital and be transferred to casualty to ask for someone to help me to the toilet. There you go. As I say, I don't know, it's the propylene or something along those lines. I wasn't able to check. During the news there. Right, now, hi folks. I think pedestrians and cyclists need to start being accountable, says another listener. They walk and cycle with no high-vis, which makes them almost invisible against the background. Cyclists can cycle 2 or 3 wide on the road. No accountability. The motorist is always the easy target. Why not clamp the speed of cars that can do at least 200 kilometres when the maximum limit is 100 kilometres? I think the market's going to resist that. That sometimes you need an extra bit of acceleration as well. I don't know. If a car is open driven on insurance, who is liable for points if they were speeding, etc.? Well, I believe they will, in the first instance, contact the owner of the vehicle, and there is a form where you accept responsibility for it. That's my understanding of it. So if it were my car and it were Caroline driving it, I would get the summons, and I think there's a form where I can state that it was Caroline driving the vehicle, as an example. A caller says the level of driving about towns in Donegal is atrocious. Drivers don't indicate. A bus came around the roundabout at the new Duns the wrong way. Gardaí turn a blind eye. If you were in the north and you didn't indicate, you'd get a fine. Another, why are trees all over roundabouts? You need to see oncoming traffic. Yeah, indeed. And the trees have been cut down from a couple of roundabouts, and the lines of sight are amazing. I can understand why they're there, because it's, for beauty. But when the trees are gone, it does give very impressive lines of sight. A caller says, I'm fully in support of Pádraig McLaughlin raising the issue of the iPass Centre not going ahead in Ballyliffin. It should not go ahead, and we support him. We were also talking about people diffing and rallying around roundabouts in certain areas. There seems to be a regular occurrence at Bridgend. A caller says, hi Greg, just in relation to an incident at the roundabout at Bridgend at the weekend where everyone had to stay put until a car was finished diffing all over the place. Absolutely ridiculous carry on. But then we have our local councillor coming on and saying that what they need is to try and have a controlled area for these young people to take out their frustration. Oh my God, that's where the problem lies, because there are a few of these places already for diffing, and when they finish there, they come onto our roads. So just look at our roads at the minute with all the marks. This would really be some way to spend us, the taxpayers' money, again, because they look for grants for everything, and it's the taxpayer at the end of the day paying for it. That's some answer to the problem. So that person not in favour of that. A caller says those cars blocking the road need to be reported. We're sick listening to this every weekend. They sit on all access roads and warn each other if the Gardaí are coming. Now, let's just say, hypothetically, who's with me on this? Is there another person that could come with me? And let's pretend we were the guards for... And I'm not having a go at guards. Guards only can do what they're told to do. But let's say me and one of you, or me on my own, decided that we wanted to nab these guys, right? Say we had the authority. So we could get a car that's not a marked police car, not a marked Garda car. And we could find ourselves in the situation where we could clearly see what they're doing. And we could also find out when they're going to do it, because we could get onto, these various websites that share this information. And then you could drive onto the roundabout, stop the vehicle, arrest them, seize the vehicle, maybe ban them from driving. You could do that. We could do that, couldn't we? We could do that. It's the same as the selling of drugs. I'm pretty confident that I could nab someone selling drugs if I wanted to, because they do it quite publicly and you kind of know where they're doing it, right? But that's not done. And I think that's where the public frustration comes in. But the Gardaí don't have the resources, and the guards are told what to do and when to do it to a great extent. So, but undercover we could go and nab where these donuts are happening, right? I think we could. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Before I go to the break, I want to give you a date for your diary. Though it is Donegal branch Spina Bifida presents the Spina Bifida charity motorcycle run. It's on Sunday, May 18th, and it runs from Tobins, Downings, Gortahawk, Guibara, Glentees, Ballabafay and back to Tobins, or the other way round. It's €15 per skull. There'll be spot prizes at registration. Donations welcome also for from non-bikers for a great charity. All funds stay in the local Donegal branch, helping families in many ways. So it leaves Tobin filling station, Letterkenny at 12 p.m. sharp on, when is it? On the 18th of May. And then registration is there from 11:15 a.m. So if you got your bike, get it out and go for a run with your mates and support the Donegal branch of the Spina Bifida Ireland. And the motorcycling community are fantastic, actually, in relation to champion causes and doing their bit. Okay, we're going to be talking about responsible caravan and camping as we head into the tourist season. It's already kicked off, hasn't it? And Donegal Tourism, they have an initiative to try and ensure our visitors, or those travelling within the county in their camper vans, do so respectful of the wider population. Mary Fowley Daly's the Tourism Development Officer with Donegal County Council, and will join me after these.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 7th of May. You're playing on the blue sheet for the daily prize of €800. The reference number is S13. It's game number 19. The numbers are 67, 17, 40, 68, 85, 89, 73, 9, 70, and finally 50. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Imagine a wedding venue that can be hired exclusively for you and your guests. Picture stunning views overlooking one of Donegal's most scenic beaches, an authentic country manor as your accommodation, incredible glass-fronted marquee views all day, and a team of experts who want to help you plan every step of the way. Sounds too good to be true? Not at Drumhalla House in Rathmullen. It really has to be seen to be believed. Visit drumhallahouse.ie or check out Drumhalla House on Instagram for more details.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out shaneconleycars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
Now, we're joined on the programme by Mary Fowley Daly, Tourism Development Officer with Donegal County Council. Good morning to you, Mary. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Good, and it's great to have you back on the programme. Now, Donegal Tourism have launched a new digital campaign focused on promoting responsible caravan and camping throughout the county. And it's great to see, isn't it, already? Lots of people deciding to choose Donegal to visit and camp in. But I suppose it has to be with respect to those that are already here. And in fairness, sometimes people need knowledge as to what the story is locally. And I presume all of that is the reason behind this initiative.
That's it, exactly, Greg. As you said, it's all about balancing that. I mean, we're a welcoming county. Donegal is renowned for its famous welcome. So, I mean, the caravan and camping sector are a very important component now within the tourism sector, and it has grown really exponentially since COVID, particularly. We see more and more people coming every year, and it's all about that balance. It's all about welcoming the visitors, but yet trying to drive home those very important messages about responsible caravan and camping. And I suppose that's what this campaign sets out to do. We feel it's a very kind of engaging campaign. We have two elements of it. We have a travel style series where we had Noel Cunningham, of course, Donegal, one of Donegal's
I'm
greatest
already now
ambassadors.
wondering how I get some of this county council money or this tourism money. He gets everything. It's not fair, but go on. Who else would you get?
And we had Donegal Daddy, of course, Glenty's own Micheál Brennan, and myself. We travelled around the county over a week, and it was, have to say, it was the most horrendous weather week we could have got.
But the crack was good, I would say.
But we had great crack. But it was all about, I suppose, that what we developed out of it then was we developed a travel series, so kind of 5 episodes from the south of the county right up to the north of the county. And what that was showcasing was very much our tourism offering in terms of our stunning county, obviously, but also what people can do to immerse themselves in the communities that they visit in terms of restaurants, in terms of shops, in terms of attractions, things to do and see along the way. So we had those, but we also then, of course, mix between those what we did was we shot some very small, short, specific messages driving home what we call is our camper's code. So in terms of planning ahead, booking ahead, and following the guidelines, and those guidelines is what we used for the shorter messages. So responsible parking, driving home that message in terms of the environment, in terms of your wastewater, in terms of the fantastic campsite facilities we have within our county, and encouraging those visiting our county to use those facilities within our county.
As you can imagine, Mary, too, we would get, a lot of the complaints that people might, and you've hit on a lot of them already. It is about parking across two parking spaces. You'll see that in Donegal town. It's bound to pop up at some point. But also, taking your rubbish with you. And in fairness, I think one of the defences in the past is that we didn't necessarily have the facilities to do all this stuff responsibly. A lot of work has been done over recent years to provide those. So that excuse is not really there. Not that there's any excuse to not leave a place as you find it. But, not camping where you're not supposed to, lighting fires, leaving rubbish behind you, hot barbecues on beaches, this type of stuff. There's a crossover between, us going to the beach ourselves, but also those coming in camper vans. And knowledge is power, and how do you get this info, though, to our, to the people that choose to holiday that way?
Well, I suppose what we can do from a Donegal tourism point of view is try to promote as much as possible and to drive out those messages and all the things that you mentioned there, in relation to our hotspots, and we have hotspots. You mentioned Donegal town, you mentioned, there's other places as well.
Dunfanaghy always comes up, and there's other places.
Absolutely, Portneuf and things like that. Now, I was actually in Portneuf on Saturday, and I was delighted to see that, yes, there was some camper vans there, but the ones that were there were actually parked in one space. And that's one of the things that we did. We got, and it was all about driving home that message, I suppose, in a kind of an engaging way. We got Noel to drive in or Micheál to drive in rather, and he parked kind of, as you say, horizontally, taking up two spaces, but then putting out his table and chairs. And Noel then came along and said, no, you don't do that because you have to be considerate. And then also encouraging people in some areas to park maybe toward the back of a car park where you're not blocking people's views if they're walking along the shorefront. So it's about driving home those messages. And, we've done a lot in the last, because of the growth of the sector, we have done an awful lot really in the last few years. And we have seen, like last year, we ran this campaign, but we started a campaign for caravan camping, and it was slightly later. So we felt that this year we go earlier, because we do notice now people are coming, and particularly with the recent good weather and everything, people are coming to the county earlier.
The Easter seems to kick things off.
Easter kicks, yes, absolutely.
And in terms too of, I know some people might have a notion whereby, sure, we'll just head into Donegal and see where the path might take us. I think we've moved a little bit on to that, and we welcome people coming in, but you need to plan it a little bit, don't you? Not park ad hoc or what have you. Put a bit of planning into your route and use the improving facilities that we have.
And we have some fantastic facilities within our county. And really, if there are the three messages that we're really driving home, is to plan ahead, book ahead, and follow the guidelines within our campers code. And everything that we are putting out, we drive you back to that campers code within our website. And the campers code really is just, kind of following that leave no trace, as you said, element, planning ahead, prepare, don't only park on durable surfaces. Don't go in on our dunes, because we're protecting those areas and those habitats. Your waste, dispose of your waste properly. Bring it with you, bring it home with you. Your waste disposal units then, use the facilities within the campsites to, that's, our campsites are there. And I have gone round our campsites. We have fantastic facilities and great offers within our campsites. And it's really to use those, minimize, as you say, fire impacts. We've really dry weather now. So barbecues, things like that. don't light them if they're not permitted. Only in the very certain areas that they're permitted. You know, respect the wildlife and animals. You know, farmers' gates, things like that. Keep them closed.
Respect is a big one here, isn't it? Especially like we're still sort of in the middle of lambing season. You know,
your farming
the whole
is
place.
to you, Greg.
Huh?
Your farming knowledge there is standing to you.
Oh, would you stop? I'm bluffing a bit. But anyway, no, but we're still in the middle of that, of course. And then, you know, I think sometimes people might think that the entire county is Glenveigh National Park, if you know what I mean. Well, it's not. It's a thriving, busy agricultural area as well, and people have to get on with the work. And respect covers an awful lot of what we're talking about, doesn't it? Respect for where you're staying, the local communities, the landowners, as you say, and people who are visiting the county in a different way.
Yeah, and it's all about working together, and it's that balance. And I mean, that's what we're doing. I mean, this, as I said, it's, you know, like any other tourism sector, it has its challenges, but it's to balance that, and it's to keep driving home, I suppose, that responsible tourism and, you know, the sustainable tourism is really the key focus. And, you know, ensuring that we protect what we have here. We have a fantastic offering within our county. You know, we have natural beauty that's renowned. And, you know, so it is about protecting that. And I suppose that's what this campaign, and we're going to run this campaign now for a 6-week period. And again, just continuously driving home that message. And we have found a huge impact, you know, already, even though it's only we started it on Thursday. So already we see, you know, to that page, because we can track obviously the numbers visiting the page. And when they come to that page, you know, they have the campers code, but they also have a list of all the campsites within our county. And, you know, you can pick from a campsite with fantastic facilities for families, or you can pick a more quiet, tranquil, you know, campsite if you're there as a couple or, you know, so all the different sectors within the demographics, I suppose, are catered for, you know, whatever you're looking for, and they have the facilities, and that's what we're telling people to do. Use those facilities and to enjoy our county, but also to immerse themselves in our communities. And you know, that's what we want.
And they are a valuable sector. It's a bit of a misnomer that they come in with and don't sell anything or don't spend. That's nonsense. I know that not to be true. Go visit donegal.com/camping. Now, I mean, I think to even just go in and see the videos, it should be good crack with yourself, Micheál and Noel. And share them as well. Share them on your socials and spread the word that way. Yeah, okay.
That's right. You know, and we're asking, like, you know, all the campsites as well. Share them. They're there. Share them. And, you know, people in the hospitality sector, you know, tourism sector, those are there to share. And you know, everything, I suppose, as you say, it's back to those 3 kind of points: plan ahead, book ahead, and follow the guidelines.
Lovely
and that's
stuff.
what we're asking people to do.
I love when you gave me a touch on farming that you completely relapsed into Ballyshannon. Because I know myself, you can always get a touch in Ballyshannon. Listen, thanks so much, Mary. Appreciate it. Take care. Look after yourself. All right, bye-bye. That's Mary Fowley Daly there, Tourism Development Officer with Donegal County Council. Check out their website. Go visit donegal.com/camping. Of course, Donegal Daddy, Micheál and Noel Cunningham, 2 of the most popular in this county, along with Mary there. There's a series of videos with them, and it sounds like, I haven't seen them yet, but it sounds like it could be a bit of fun.
If you haven't tried Sweeney's Hotel, Bakery and Pizzeria yet, now's the time. Taste freshly made macaroons and baked goods from our bakery. Enjoy free delivery on all pizzeria orders over €20 within 2 kilometres of Sweeney's. Sweeney's Hotel, Bakery and Pizzeria. Baking fresh, delivering happiness.
We're serving up summer at Dunnes Stores. Fire up the grill with 3 for €10 on a range of meat and fish, like succulent ribs, chicken, flaky salmon and jumbo Irish pork sausages. Served in fresh buns, pittas and wraps. Mix and match 2 for €2.30. And a range of delicious sauces from €1.75. Plus, you can save at the till with a €10.50 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
There's never been a better time to get on a bike. Bike Week runs from Saturday, May 10th to Sunday, May 18th. It's easy, fun, and there's something for everyone. Enjoy a wide range of events from community and school cycles, fun bike festivals, safety workshops and much more. Visit bikeweek.ie for a full list of events taking place in your county. Bike Week is funded by the Department of Transport, coordinated by TFI and brought to you by the local authorities and sport partnerships.
New this week in Home Store and More. All barbecues are 33% off. But better hurry, because when all our 33% off barbecues are gone, they're gone. Cook up a storm this summer. Check out our great range of gas and charcoal barbecues. Like our Mastercook Classic 505 burner gas barbecues, only $279.97. Or our adjustable grill charcoal barbecues, only $149.98. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show from a beautiful sunny Donegal, and we now cross to a equally beautiful Rome. Colm Flynn, Vatican correspondent at EWT News. Good morning, Colm. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, Greg, good morning. You know what? It is okay now, but a while ago it started raining, and I have all the equipment here. I know you can't see this on the radio, but you can see it if you're watching on your social media. I'm standing out on my balcony with our TV setup where we've been doing hits into all the networks. And it started raining, so everything is covered. I can see grey clouds behind me. But speaking of the weather, just a few nights ago, on the last day of mourning for Pope Francis, Greg, on the eve of the kind of really big lead-in until the conclave, I was woken up at 3:30 in the morning. My whole apartment shook. It sounded like a bomb going off. It was a massive thunder and lightning storm right over the Vatican. So read into that what you want, Greg.
Okay, right. Now we're getting down to the business end of things, aren't we? Because Roman Catholic cardinals are soon to begin the task of electing a new pope. A public mass has just concluded at St. Peter's Basilica, and that's the start, or heading towards their secret conclave for its successor to Pope Francis. And there's just something particularly historic about this part now. It almost like we step away from sort of 2025 and it feels like we're stepping back in time to real tradition.
Yeah, because this election process, of course, goes back centuries and it's steeped in tradition and ritual and culture. But you have to remember, I was just talking to TV in Australia 30 minutes ago, their big evening television show, and they've just come out of a general election. So they were kind of in that mindset, and I said to them in Sydney, look, you have to remember, this is an election on one hand, but it has what sets it apart than anything else in the world, this spiritual element, where, as you say, the Mass of the Holy Spirit has just concluded in the last couple of minutes here in Rome, and that is where these men who have their strengths and they have their weaknesses just like you and me, they're going in and they're saying, look, at the end of the day, Holy Spirit, please do your job and guide us, and let us be open to the Holy Spirit so that we pick the right person, because there's a lot at stake here. Just picking the person who's going to lead the institution of the Catholic Church, but also will be the spiritual shepherd in a very turbulent world full of war, more war now. We've been hearing the news the last 24 hours, and they need someone to look to for moral and spiritual guidance.
So what happens next? And talk to us a little bit about the lengths that have been gone to ensure that once they enter the conclave, that they are locked away from the world.
Yeah, and that's what the word means. It's Latin, conclave, for locked with a key. They got their hotel rooms, I say hotel rooms, their guest rooms in Casa Santa Marta. That's the Vatican guest house. They were given their rooms, I think, yesterday, the day before, and that's it. They're cut off from the outside world. They have to remain within the walls of Vatican City State until they come up with a new pope. Now, you know, when they leave the Sistine Chapel, if they don't pick a pope today, they'll be going back, they'll get a bite to eat, they'll retire to their rooms. But their mobile phones have been taken from them. They don't have laptops. They don't have a connection with the outside world. And when they're in the Sistine Chapel, it is complete secrecy. The entire Apostolic Sistine Chapel was checked for listening devices, for bugs. All of the staff, the cleaners, the chefs, the people who work, so the security staff, the people who work around the Vatican, they've been sworn to secrecy as well. The penalty, by the way, if you are found to have broken that, is excommunication. So not only do you lose your Vatican job, you're kicked out, but you're kicked out of the Catholic faith as well. That's how seriously they take this. Even, Greg, they put a special film on the windows of the Sistine Chapel to stop cameras and satellites being able to zoom in and peer through them and use AI lip reading technology. Wow. They have drone blockers in the air. I mean, it's an incredible thing. And I can tell you, the interest around the world is phenomenal because of the recent Conclave movie, I think, and because of the movie The Two Popes and what have you. When just behind that wall that you can see on social media now, there are TV reporters and cameras from all over the world, from every part of the globe. And Greg, the funny thing is, yesterday I was over talking to them and I was doing links into different TV networks, and they all had a wide lens on the camera. Now, you and I work in media, we know what that means. They had a lens that is more kind of good at getting the wide shot of the Vatican, and you can stand in front of it. Today when I walked past, all of these cameras, like you see in the football games, had the huge big zoom lenses on the front of the cameras. Why? Because they're all trained on that tiny chimney at the top of the Sistine Chapel. So all the cameras are zoomed right up to that chimney, waiting to see some smoke this evening.
Yeah, it's astonishing, isn't it? And I'll get to that smoke in a moment and what colour we expect today, because we can sort of maybe lean on history a little bit to guess. But, you know, how much of this has been decided before the conclave, and how much happens within the conclave, I wonder? Because I imagine, Colm, and you can talk to this far better than I can, it's almost about the direction of the church as opposed to, which might lead to the individual. Is that how you see it? And how much do you think has been discussed in advance? And is there lobbying and conversations within the conclave then as we try to get to a 2/3 majority?
Yeah, that's interesting. You're right. It's not like in politics, you have a mix of the popularity contest and someone going on their charisma, but then they also have their policies and their agenda. With the cardinals, they have the pre-conclave meetings. So for the past 12 days, maybe a little bit less than 12 days, they've had their congregations, which are meetings where all the cardinals have joined together, and every one of them, the electors, 133, and some non-electors. So if they're still a cardinal, even if they're over the age of 80, they can't vote, but they can still influence. So some of them took the opportunity to make a speech to all the other cardinals, and that's their way of trying to influence. Now, they would never advocate for themselves or canvass for themselves. They wouldn't say, me, Cardinal XY, would make a great pope, and here's why I think, please, I want your #1 vote. That would never happen. But what each one will do, and we heard this from throughout the week, we've been told this cardinal from the United States, he made a great speech where he said that the church should really continue its path on getting a handle on the sexual abuse crisis and the Vatican finances. Then we heard, a cardinal from Africa made an impassionate speech where he said, we need to return to the family values and the family tradition, and, looking at the charitable works of the Catholic Church around the world. So they each lay out their stall. And what's interesting about this College of Cardinals, Greg, is that traditionally it's been an Italian boys' club, really. They've all been Italian, some French, mainly European. So they all knew each other. They all kind of had the same world vision when it came to where they were from, geographically at least, same tradition and culture. Whereas Pope Francis turned that on its head. And he said, no, this is the global Catholic Church. It's not the Irish Catholic Church or the Italian Catholic Church. It's global. So I want a cardinal in Papua New Guinea. South Sudan, you're a cardinal. Hey, Mongolia, you're only 45? Doesn't matter, you're a cardinal. So it could be a 2-day conclave, but a lot of these men don't know each other as well as the cardinals would have in previous years. And not only that, to my previous point, they come from very different cultures, very different backgrounds, and different traditions, which is important. So some may come from a liberal country where they may have a more progressive agenda, but then Asian, African cardinals, they could come and say, well, no, we come from a conservative, more traditional country, and we want to see that reflected in the church. And not only that, promoted and supported by the next pope.
So in terms of Pope Francis's appointments, Colm, was it more geographically based, do you think, rather than sort of maybe continuing his ethos?
Yeah, because I think people are reading it. It's a false reading when they say Pope Francis has picked he had created 80% of the voting cardinals, which is true. So 80% of the men who will be in the Sistine Chapel today voting were all created by Pope Francis. But I don't think you can read into that they find then an allegiance to Pope Francis and his papacy and his legacy and what he was trying to do in the papacy. Because if you look at the cardinals he created, like some from Africa, again, they were chosen by Francis, but on the spectrum of ideology, and I hate the whole ideological divide that we've seen in American politics and now we see in the church. But I guess, we have to use the perimeters of the speech we have to look at these candidates. Some of them would be leaning very conservative because of the places they come from, because of their points of view on theology and doctrine. So that was a surprise. A lot of people here in Rome think that there wasn't too much thought put into some of Francis's choices for cardinals, just perhaps on a whim. If he had an apostolic trip somewhere, like when I went with him to South Sudan, he would meet a bishop who was working on the peripheries with people who were in need, and there was just maybe in that moment something about his interaction with that bishop that would make Pope Francis go when he came back to Rome. That guy has now been elevated to the College of Cardinals. Whereas in the past there was an exception that you really had to work for it and you had to achieve great things in whatever diocese or place you had come from, to earn that title of getting the red hat.
Yeah, because we were speaking to Father Eamon here from Downings recently, and he talked of his appointment as canon to St. Mary's, and it seemed to be in a spur of the moment. I'm sure there was more thought to it, but it was just said in an unexpected fashion. So black smoke, all the votes are burnt, and a chemical is added to them to reveal either black smoke or white smoke. There'll be one vote today. It's very unlikely that it will be decided today, but it's also unlikely it will go beyond 3 days. I think, Colm, you can tell me better than that. So we will get that vision of smoke today, and the colour most likely will be black. Is that your view?
Yeah, I think you're bang on the money, Greg. If we look back at the last couple of conclaves to elect Pope Francis, and by the way, everyone's talking about the favourites. You have to remember that in 2013, Bergoglio, no one was thinking about Bergoglio. He was 15 in the bookies' favourites, 15. And when he came to the balcony, I was talking to some of my friends from NBC television in the US. They turned to each other and they said on air, we'll just give you a moment to absorb this moment in history, because they were flicking through the pages saying, who is this? They didn't recognize the person on the balcony. So, but still, his conclave was 2 days. Before that, Pope Benedict XVI, his conclave was around 2 days. Pope John Paul II, it was around 2 days. I think if you want to find one that went longer than that, you have to go back to, I think, the 1920s, and there was a conclave that lasted 5 days. Now, there have been centuries, conclaves that lasted hundreds of days for different reasons. There was one where 2 popes were elected, and there have been ones where fights broke out in the Sistine Chapel because people just wanted to get out because it was going on so long. But we think this time that we should have a pope by Thursday evening, at the latest Friday. If it goes past Friday, you know that there are some serious problems inside that Sistine Chapel. And no matter how hard the Holy Spirit is working, they cannot come to an agreement. But we think around 2 days. Yeah. And you're right, this evening they only have 1 vote. After this, they can have up to 4 votes a day. But today, I think in this afternoon, at around 4 o'clock local time in Rome, when they meet in the Sistine Chapel, they're having 1 vote just to kind of check the temperature of the body. Are we in a consensus here? How are we feeling together? Just to kind of test the waters.
You never know. And very finally, Colm, because I know you're busy, you're networking throughout the world. When you speak to people, is there an established favourite? I think in this situation, because I don't think anyone can possibly know, and bookies will set odds so people bet, right? They're not going to leave their page blank. Do you find that people are saying maybe what they want rather than what they think? Because how could anyone have any real sense what 133 cardinals from all over the world, 70-odd countries, might think? So are you allowing yourself to think, right, I believe it might be this person, or would that be foolhardy?
You see, you're absolutely right. I have had the privilege of meeting and interviewing a number of the cardinals. In fact, I think I've interviewed 4 of the frontrunners in the past couple of years. So naturally, my own instinct is just my human nature, because I've met them and I had a good relationship with them and they did a wonderful interview with me. I'm thinking, oh, it could be this person or that person. Most of them I've never met. and I've never interviewed, and I don't know them from Adam. And I think for the other Cardinals as well, they might be in the same boat. They've only met them a number of times. I interviewed Bishop Barron yesterday, the famous American bishop, and he said, look, at this stage, it's really anyone's bet. And the interesting thing is, Greg, you have to remember, according to canon law, which is the law that governs the church, technically, the Cardinals can select any baptized male in the entire world.
Are you saying you're still in the running column? Is that what you're saying? Because you've been
No,
canvassing.
I was going to say you, Greg.
No, well, whatever about me.
I can see a halo over your head. I know people listening in Highland can't see this on the radio, but I can see it on the camera. You're glowing today, so maybe when we see white smoke. But actually, before we go, a funny thing about the smoke. I know you mentioned they put the chemicals in when they burned the ballots to say black or white. In the past, the chemicals weren't strong enough. And I've been talking to people who've been here at previous conclaves, and the bells of St. Peter's would ring saying, okay, we're getting smoke now. Everyone would rush to the square, and the smoke would be kind of greyish, and people would be standing there going, does that look black to you, or is that white? And some people were cheering, saying, we have a pope, and others were saying, no, that's black. So they've upped the amount of chemicals to make sure that you'll know when you see it. It's black or it's white.
Okay, well, my Halo's moisturiser. I subscribe to the younger for longer way of things, Colm. I'm hanging on for dear life. Thanks so
Greg,
very
don't
much.
Stop. It's working. Whatever you're doing, it's working.
Take care. Enjoy. It must be very exciting and an honour to be there, Colm. No better man than yourself. Thank you so very much indeed.
Thank you, Greg. My pleasure.
Care. That's Colm Flynn there, Vatican correspondent at EWT News. He's a good friend of the show and is always very accommodating. He's on every TV station around the world. And if you watch back, you can see he's got the setup to match. Okay, let's take a break.
It's the holiday of a lifetime, Highland in the Sun 2025. This September 14th to the 21st, we go back to the stunning 4-star Sol Costa Gerada Hotel Saloon for 7 nights dinner, bed and breakfast and lots of great entertainment with some of your favourite acts in Irish country music. Don't delay and book today by contacting Country Music Tours on 074 9119 955 or email info@countrymusictours.ie. Don't miss out on the holiday of a lifetime.
Massive savings at Doherty Super Value Carndonagh. At our butcher's counter, eye of the round roast beef better than half price. 7.5 kg roosters only €5.59. And any 3 fruits only €10. Real rewards, real value. Shop smart, save big at Doherty Super Value Carndonagh.
Summer is just around the corner and it's now time to shop for your dream garden furniture at Easy Living Furniture. We've got a huge range of garden furniture and accessories at unbeatable prices. And if that's not enough, we'll throw in free delivery on all garden furniture. Transform your garden or patio for the ultimate al fresco dining experience. Don't miss out. Come in today to grab these incredible deals before they're gone. Only at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link, Derry, Londonderry.
Don't miss Homeland's May Mega Deal. Save 15% on wild bird feeders and tables. Farmstock Solar Fencer S440, now €179. Save €20. Gold all-in-one lavender and chamomile pods 51 wash, now $13.99. Save €6. Offers until May 31st. Shop in-store or at homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Donegal County Council are carrying out septic tank inspections across the county and would like to remind homeowners to check the condition of their wastewater treatment systems for signs of sewage overflows, blockages, pools of effluent on lawns or in nearby ditches and streams. Direct all soiled water from sinks, showers, dishwashers and washing machines to the septic tank, but not rainwater. And if it hasn't been emptied for the last few years, please get it cleaned out by a permitted contractor who will dispose of it properly. Further details on how to protect your health and environment are on our website, donegalcoco.ie. Donegal County Council, protecting the environment.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mchelhennys.com today.
Radio, dry and bright today, plenty of sunshine, just scattered cloud. Temperatures 15 to 18 degrees. Joe Hawkins is a community activist. He joins me on the programme now. Joe, you don't believe in the government's proposal to move elderly people to downsize to solve the housing crisis. Why would you be opposed to that?
Yeah, good morning, Greg. And
Morning,
firstly,
Joe.
good morning to all your listeners across Donegal.
I'd say that I'm fundamentally opposed to the government applying pressure to the older generation in a more way that they're trying to force the older generation to move out of their home that they spend a long time building up, working, paying taxes in this country to have a safe, secure place to spend their final days. They're putting a lot of pressure on the older generation, and this can't just be seen as a quick fix to the problem that the government has at the minute. It's their housing crisis, and if they want to put proper solutions to the table, people listen to them. In my hometown in Clonmel in County Tipperary, I stated on Katie Cannon last Monday night that there's modular units in County Tipperary, 82 of them, and there's a lot of homeless people across County Tipperary and indeed in Clonmel that would love to have a modular unit like that, but they can't be given. I think
who's housed in the modular?
Perfect solution.
Who's housed in the modular units, Joe?
Ukrainian asylum seekers, and we do really need to accommodate and house these asylum seekers because they're going through the mills at the moment. But there needs to be some fairness and equality here too.
I think, Joe, what people would want is I do know older people who are living in 3 or 4 bedroomed homes, and they would love to downsize if it was fair and what have you. So, would you be in favour of the government or councils working with older people if that's their will, providing they're not guilt tripped into it or coerced in some way to do it?
Yes, look, and especially. Just like I made this point to people listening today, that I think that the government forgets that there's other places outside of Dublin. I think that it would be a great idea if the council work with these people that are willing to downsize, but we can't apply pressure on people, as you said. But the problem is there's no place to downsize in my local area in Clonmel and County Tipperary. And if they go ahead and build small retirement villages for people, I think that it would be a serious misspend of public money when we're in a housing emergency at the moment, and they could build houses for people. They could build 3 or 4 bedroom houses, the local authority, and I think the local authorities, especially in County Tipperary, they need to go back to building homes.
Okay. I mean, I could see myself living in my later years. I could see myself living in sort of like a congregated setting, that was designed for, that was low level stuff at the right type of bathrooms and stuff, maybe a central area that people could mix together. I wouldn't be opposed to sort of, building, congregated living spaces for older people where you could retain a bit of independence, but there's also be supports there, Joe.
Question, Greg, there, if you don't mind. Do you have faith in the government to actually be able to build small retirement villages?
Well,
and do you think they could build them? Is it not?
Unfortunately, the line is breaking down during the question. I don't know, Joe. I mean, listen, by the time, it probably won't be this government in situ by the time I get to that stage, but I take your point. There would be people that have that mistrust.
And I think this is a very good solution, but I don't think people, why can't Irish people be put into these modular units that are being put forward for the Ukrainian asylum seekers? What's your opinion on that, Greg?
I think it's up to older people. We have our own problems up here, Joe, in terms of defective concrete, whereby, our housing crisis, and I know you're in Tip, right? But our housing crisis is in a situation whereby we are seeing the provision of modular homes for refugees. But unfortunately for those who are having to move out of their homes while they're being rebuilt, there's no accommodation available for them. So there are people listening that will go, right, I understand what Joe's saying, but for different reasons. But the government have ruled out modular properties in Donegal for those people who can't rent while their defective homes are being rebuilt or are unlivable. So as I say,
that to me, I believe that the government is after ruling out equality, and it states in the Constitution that every Irish person should be set at the same standard, kind of at the same setting, I don't think that this is setting all Irish people equally,
All right, it's a nationwide conversation people are having, because you could also throw into the fact that, say, for instance, Ukrainian refugees are getting €600 towards their rent tax-free for the landlord, whereas people originally from here aren't, and that's skewing the rental market as well. So a lot of the stuff that you're mentioning, listeners have raised here before. But Joe, we appreciate you accepting the invite. That's Joe Hawkins, a community activist there. A caller says, hopefully we get a pope who will advance LGBT rights, and within the next decade we will witness gay priests being married at the altar with the full blessing of the church. Do you think that's a direction the church might go? I just feel there's a it seems to be, generally speaking, a move towards more conservatism. And I just wonder if that's the direction the Catholic Church will go. I don't know. I just wonder if that's just the way things are going. We've seen the way things are changing, say, for an example, in the United States and Britain, particularly as it relates to trans rights. I know you say LGBT, but particularly as it relates to trans rights, they are receding greatly in Britain and certain states in the United States. So we'll see. I'm not sure. I just don't believe that's the direction the church will go. But I mean, I'm just guessing. All right, news is on the way.
Charge into summer with TUI. Secure your holiday today with savings for families and adults flying from Dublin, Cork and Shannon. Holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy.
Home improvements are well worth making, especially when they build towards a more sustainable future for us all. SSE Airtricity is here to help with the Generation Green Home Upgrade. From insulation, heating, solar panels, windows and doors to full home retrofits, we're your one-stop shop for energy solutions to suit all budgets. It's a simple, hassle-free process with end-to-end project management and a streamlined SEAI grant application process. So make some home improvements that will make a real difference at ssceairtricity.com/home upgrade. Registered with the SEAI for home energy upgrades. Grants offered are provided by the Government of Ireland through the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland.
They say time equals money, so spend your money where you spend your time. No matter what your preference is, Cooney's Home Interiors has something to suit every taste and budget. With our extensive range of home furnishing to fit every room and style, from mattresses and beds to rugs, mirrors and suites of furniture. Visit us in store today and see for yourself what Cooney's have to offer, and let us help you make your dream home a reality. Cooney's Home Interiors, Letterkenny Retail Park. Huge range, great prices.
Here at Century Cinemas, we have movies to suit the whole family, including upcoming releases Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning and Lilo and Stitch. For movie times and to book tickets, call Century Complex on 07491 21976 or visit centurycinemas.ie.
I'm Fionnuala Fibre O'Farrell Flynn, racing across the country to keep up with NBI's fibre rollout. Over 50 broadband providers are using NBI's network to bring high-speed fibre broadband to homes across Ireland. So from Ballyliffin to Ballybuffet, homeowners can pick whatever package suits their needs and still get all the benefits of rural Ireland's dedicated fibre broadband network. Connect at nbi.ie.
NBI is delivering the government's national broadband plan.
Another connection. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have worn heels.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Yes, indeed it is. Coming up, a busy hour, including Chris Ashmore with business news. First, let's get a news update. And 11 o'clock, it's Good Morning, Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A number of appointments have been made in An Garda Síochána Donegal in line with the new Garda operating model. Detective Superintendent Sean Grant, based in the Munkana Garda Station, has responsibility for the Donegal Crime Functional Area. Superintendent David Kelly in Milford Garda Station has responsibility for Donegal Performance Assurance Functional Area. And finally, Superintendent Karen Duffy in the Ballyshannon Garda Station has responsibility for Donegal South Community Engagement Functional Area. A woman has been hospitalised following a 3-vehicle collision in Ballyshannon yesterday. It occurred on the N15 at around 3:45 in the afternoon. One of the drivers, aged in her 50s, was transported to Sligo University Hospital for treatment to non-life-threatening injuries. The road was closed for a number of hours yesterday, but has since reopened. Ireland is the third most expensive country in Europe for electricity. Prices here are 30% or around €350 a year higher than the EU average and are exceeded only by Germany and Denmark. About half of our electricity is generated through gas, with gas prices here the 5th highest in Europe according to Eurostat. Meanwhile, Irish drivers face higher insurance costs amid proposed legal changes. The Alliance for Insurance Reform is urging people for a public debate on proposed 17% hike in personal injury awards. It says premiums would be pushed higher, with motorists already under a heavy financial burden. And finally, 89% of teenage girls are silently struggling with anxiety and worry. A survey by the Shona Project shows almost 4 in 5 sometimes feel no good at all, while 70% feel social media negatively affects their mental health. 2/3 say school isn't safe or welcoming space to everyone. That is all for now. Back again with more headlines at 12 noon.
Thanks very much, Donna Marie.
By taking the bus, the train, walking or cycling whenever you can, you're playing a part in helping to reduce Ireland's transport emissions. To help you on your way, this year over €1.6 billion is being invested in public transport nationwide and over €1 million a day on our walking and cycling routes. This has helped more people than ever to access more sustainable transport, because wherever you're going, your journey counts. Visit gov.ie/your journey counts. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Tommy Mallet, says the listener, done more for Irish tourism on his recent tour of Ireland than any of the tourist boards have done in the last 20 years. Social media influencers, which Tommy is now, Timmy Mallet, they do their bit as well, of course, and sometimes they're engaged by the tourism boards, but definitely too, Timmy Mallet brings back a lot of memories from my childhood, but cycling around the place, he's done really well. I have a disability badge for my car in the Republic of Ireland. Someone said to me recently that if I'm shopping in Derry or Strabane, that badge does not cover me and I have to buy a parking ticket. Can anyone clarify if this is true? I'd appreciate that because we do get a few calls in relation to that. Right. It is time for Wellness Wednesday, and I'm joined on the programme by Bernie Doherty, who's chairperson of the Exchange. And it's the end of one of a 3-year project of loving lullabies and little necessities in the Exchange in Inishowen. It does sound wonderful. Good morning to you, Bernie.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Right, so what is the Exchange?
The Exchange is a charity in Buncrana. And we set it up, myself and a few other groups set it up in Buncrana about 13 years ago. So we run a lot of community events and do a lot of community outreach. We're partnered with a mental health charity inside Inishowen, and we also have a food bank. So it's a very busy place, We do lots of music as well. I do lots of music, but there's everything happening there. Parkinson's wellness classes and lots of environmental events, English classes. It's a very busy place, a great wee hub of activity.
And your work through the work that you're doing, is it primarily with young families, maybe young families that are struggling, or who are you engaging with mostly?
In the Exchange, we're really engaging with the whole community,
Okay.
Greg. It's really about bringing everybody together. It's not specifically about anyone in need. It's really just about creating events and a space where people can come together regardless of whether there's a need or not, but it's just taking those barriers away as well.
But the 3-year project we're talking about now, Loving
Yes.
Lullabies and Little Necessities, that certainly, I presume, is targeting families with younger children.
That particular one is for younger children and new families. So we were really lucky to partner with a Dublin-based charity foundation called the Catherine Howard Foundation, and they've worked up here before with Spree Agus Sport, and I think working with them again. So they funded us for a 3-year project to bring music and sort of everyday necessities to new families. And the idea behind it is to create a connection between parents and their babies through the music, but then also to create a sort of level playing field for babies being born in the area. So, if you are struggling to get all the wee bits and pieces together that you need, it doesn't, as you know, Greg, it doesn't belong adding up. So if we can take some of that burden away and also create some joy and anticipation through the music about how their life can be, what they hope for their child.
And what has your takeaway been from this project so far? Like, what have you seen, or what sort of makes you feel like going, you know what, we're making a difference here?
Parents new families have been really, really relieved and about the baby packs that they've received and the quality, and we're kind of working on things being reusable. So rather than giving them a box of items, we're actually giving them a really nice modern fully kitted out nappy bag full of the stuff and extra that doesn't fit in the nappy bag, but so that they can use that as well, and that, you know, they're starting out on an even footing with people who can afford to buy all of that for themselves. They've also really been extremely joyful about the music part of it. So they've been writing lullabies for their own families, children that they might already have, the new children that they're expecting, and also lots of families taking the opportunity to write about children who maybe they never met or couldn't stay, and include them in the lullabies that they're writing for their families now. So it's been really beautiful. Great connection.
And, you know, obviously there can be financial challenges when your family grows, but also too, even if those financial challenges aren't present, it can be quite a lonely time, a confusing time. We presume that a new mum knows everything. You know, but that is not the case. A lot of the time you're learning on the job. And as I say, maybe you don't have a support network around you. It can be a very tough, isolating time at a time everyone looks on presuming it's just the most joyous time ever.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. And so what we found as well is people are, you know, connection is everything, really, in everything we do. It all comes down to connection. And the mums and dads who've been attending, they were really delighted to meet other new families and to get to connect with them and have the crack and write some music. And then people were happy to share lullabies from when they grew up, or maybe if they were from a different country, sharing in their own languages. So there was a lot of great chat and banter, and you know, it's been really great fun and just really positive.
And there are those that already know what you guys do, but there's a real opportunity, I suppose, on Saturday for those listening or those in the area to sort of go, all right, okay, this is like something I would like, and it's going to be like open to everyone, and it sounds like it's going to be really nice, just actually a nice thing to do with your 0 to 3-year-old. So talk to me about what's coming up on Saturday.
So as well as partnering with the Catherine Howard Foundation, we're also partnered with Carnegie Hall. They started the Lullaby Project in New York, and there's a small number of international partners working with them as well, and we are one of those partners. So as part of that, like Carnegie Hall, the Exchange, and the Catherine Howard Foundation, on Saturday we're having a big lullaby celebration. It also happens in New York every year, and I was at it a couple of years ago. But so this Saturday from 11 to 1, we're inviting parents and their 0 to 3-year-olds to come along. We're going to have a beautiful celebration of music, dance, lots of fun, but also some lullabies. And, you know, maybe some songs that you wouldn't think of as a lullaby, you can make a lullaby out of everything, as I'm sure you've relearned with Hudson, Greg. But
well, I'm actually feeling that
can be a lullaby.
I'm feeling quite excluded. He's going to have to get a fake ID and go in as 2 years and 11 months.
You can sneak in. Anyone's welcome. If you think your child would enjoy it, you're welcome.
I know that.
No one's going to be checking baby IDs at the door.
There's no security. All right.
No
but
security,
come here.
no.
A lot of effort's gone into, obviously, the music and that side of stuff's lovely, Sinead, but the setting actually sounds fantastic. So talk to me how it's set up on Saturday, because I think that's going to be a lovely sensory experience for mums,
really
dads,
is,
and the kids.
So we're going to set it up sort of like a big top. So we're going to have like, a big sort of swooping drape on the ceiling. We're going to have lots of lights and a lovely circus backdrop, and also some circus pop-up tents for the kids to play in, and ball pits. We're going to have some toys and gift bags for all the children that are coming, with books and toys and cars and musical instruments. So we're really trying to make it just a big party and a celebration of the joy that you can have with your child. You know, life can be, like you say, it can be isolating, it can be financially stressful. So if we have a chance to celebrate, we want to do that.
And it's lovely to meet other people, you know, who've got a child the same age as yours or something. There's just something, and not everyone is cousins, you know. I mean, like, some people are lucky. We're really lucky that, you know, Hudson's got loads of cousins and all that. But not everybody has that. Maybe people have moved here from a different country, or moved here from a job, or maybe they don't have aunties or sisters, or, you know. So it's a lovely opportunity, I think, to go in there and just chat to people as well. But also the setting sounds lovely, Bernie, and it'd be a lovely bit of music.
And we're going to have food for the parents and tea and coffee and everything like that as well. But yeah, some babies don't even see other babies because they don't have that huge family connection that others have. So for the parents as well as the babies, it's great. The whole event is free. It's funded between ourselves and the support of Carnegie Hall and Catherine Howard. So everything is free, and we only ask that you book in so that we don't sort of extend ourselves numbers wise, because obviously we don't want to have to turn anybody away. So if you give us a shout on social media, myself, Bernie Doherty, the Music Box page, the Exchange page, or you can email us and just let us know that you want to come along. We really can't wait. It's going to be great fun and just a really beautiful event.
Where is the Exchange for those that aren't aware?
It's in Buncrana and it's on Castle Avenue, so it's just off the main street. It's about a 3 or 4 minute walk from the main street in Buncrana. So yeah, really.
I think it's going to be lovely. The weather's going to be lovely, so it's going to be a lovely atmosphere as people arrive. Then inside it's going to be lovely, and then you exit out to nice bright weather, and hopefully people feel more connected and invigorated. It is free between 11 and 1 p.m. at the Exchange. Music, lullaby, sensory activities, play, refreshments for kids and mums and dads as well. But obviously you can understand the organisers want an idea of numbers. So free to go, but just email themusicboxireland@gmail.com. PM the Music Box on socials or the Exchange, or indeed our own Bernie Doherty here. And you'll have a lovely day. Thanks so much for joining us, Bernie, and keep up the great work
thanks
there.
for having me. Great
it's
to get
pleasure.
the word out.
Take care. Okay, bye-bye. That's in Buncrana this Saturday. A nice one. And I think they'll have a really good turnout there. The Skort. I'd never really understood what a skort is until the last couple of days. But there's been a bit of a controversy. There was a protest at the weekend. The Skort, says a listener, the disparity in the way female players, camogie and football, are treated compared to their counterparts, the inclusion of males in ladies football. Why is the GEA's big push on inclusion not addressing a culture that sees women and girls as less than? So are you a camogie player, or do you have a view on the Skort? And do you think the Skort should be done away with and shorts to be permitted instead? It feels a strange one in this day and age that there might be a dress code and that people might feel that, you know, they have to protest for the right to wear what they want to wear. So I'd be very interested in hearing anyone involved in GEA or camogie more specifically that has a view on the Skort, its use, and the fact that one must wear it. I'm not sure how comfortable they are or how accommodating they are to people's different shapes, but I would say shorts would be preferable, but then maybe there's traditionalists that like the Skort. 086 60 25,000, that's the WhatsApp and text number, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Hoka, the brand that has changed running shoes at Brian McCormick Sports. The ultra-cushioned game changer, Bondi 9, will give you a soft and bouncy transition from heel to toe. Enjoy the increased stack height with a new premium midsole. Look the part, play the part. In-store and online. Click on bmcsports.ie.
Every decision, moment and experience has shaped who I am today. I still live at home with the support of a wonderful team who provide home care with respect for who I am, empowering me to live my life my way.
Your life, your way. Visit dovita.ie.
Discover Centra Simple Savers, your go-to for great everyday value. Like 3 for €10 on selected barbecue meats. Coca-Cola 12-can packs, €6 plus deposit. And the Ned Sauvignon Blanc, €10. Enjoy easy, simple prices weekly on your favourite products. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
If you have a special occasion coming up, Watson Menswear stock a great selection of men's and boys' formal and casual wear. Top casual brands include Mishmash, French Connection, Tommy Bow and Penguin. Formal wear names include Rimazumo, Sixth Sense and White Label, with a special suit deal of a 3-piece suit, shirt, tie and shoes, all for only €299. Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, and at watsonmenswear.com.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
16 minutes past 11. It is Wednesday's 9 till noon show. It is the 7th of May. How are you all keeping? I do hope you're very well indeed. Just to invite you, by the way, to be in contact with us. There's lots of people text radio shows all the time, and then there's those that message infrequently, and there's those that don't message at all. And I just want to invite you, if you're listening and you have a view, we want to hear it. We love getting our regulars, but we have a fantastic family of people that text in all of the time, and then those that text in. We get a lot of interaction on this show, people who message for the first time or people who've messaged 10 times. Do you know what I'm saying? But all of your views are really, really important. So don't sit there giving out about me. Someone came up to me and says there was two people in a calf saying I was an F in this and an F in that. Text it in to me. I know it's nice for you to have a chat at the calf, but text it in to me as well. Right, yesterday we were talking about local concerns as it relates to the future of the Strand Hotel in Ballyliffin. It's been closed for a couple of years. It was offered as a location for an iPass centre, and it's no longer being considered as a location for an iPass centre. Is that the end of the story? No. Because yesterday I think it's really important to drill into a story, and I think that's what we did yesterday. And the bottom line is that a Section 5 planning exemption is with Donegal County Council at the moment for it to be used as an iPass centre. There are a number of Section 5s for these types of properties with Donegal County Council at the moment. Donegal County Council has sought further information from the owners of the Strand Hotel. I believe it's in relation to the management of sewerage. It has housed lots of people in the past, so maybe the council might look favourably on that application. We don't know, because that decision has not yet been made. And if the council do grant an exemption, then there is nothing to suggest that it won't be considered as an iPass centre going forward. And this has caused great concern in the local community because they believe that there's a population there odd of 90, and the population could double or even triple, theoretically, dependent on how many were put into the hotel. So it's not a plan at the moment, but foundations are being laid. That means it could happen. So it's important we talk about it, and it's important people are heard on this matter. There's a public meeting actually coming up. Cathal Doherty's owner of the Ballyliffin Townhouse Hotel and Spa. Cathal, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining me.
Good morning, Greg. How are you? Sorry if I maybe come across as unprepared, but I only just have a short bit of time of notice here to be ready, okay?
Listen, Cathal, it's just a chat, right? I'll tell you what we want is people's real views. So whatever you've got to say is more than enough for us. So there's no rules, okay? So, Cathal, what's your concerns? I suppose as a member of the local community, but you're a business person as well.
Okay, Greg, I am a business person. I am an employer. But to be honest with you, the reason I'm speaking here today is I'm a resident, and that's the most important thing. I have a duty to my staff as well. My staff are worried. My staff are concerned for their jobs, as I think probably every employer in Ballyliffin is, and the wider community at the moment. What is my concerns? I suppose my concerns changed dramatically from last night to today. We were working at 4 a.m. in the village this morning by a military-style operation. Lorries, cranes in the village. Now, don't forget, this is a village of 90 people, putting concrete boulders around our village. The last time I seen that, Greg, was when I drove out of Derry and went across the Coshman border. Mm-hmm. This is something that's happening, something that's changing. We've been watching vans.
Just one second, Caroline. Could you send me the pictures of I think you sent that to me earlier, of these bollards, please? I just want to throw it up for those watching. My apologies, Cathal. You were saying the last time you saw this in Derry, and then you were going on to say what?
I mean, this is at an entrance to our village. Our village is small. It's pretty. There's ocean views. And now the first thing you see it's like the outside or the entrance to a prison. And I'm not kidding you. I invite people to come down.
No, I've seen what
has happened to our village this morning. This is, this is our village. And what we are afraid is, it appears that one man, and we know it's Mark Crossan, we're not afraid to name him, he put his name on an application. And one man is going to dictate to us how we live in our village and what we see in our village and how we work in our village and how our guests see our village. We've had a village here for years. We all work in tourism. And we've always worked together as a team. There may be 3 hotels here. There's restaurants, bars. We work as one. And that's what makes Ballyliffin successful. And we cannot have an outsider coming in. We need our elected officials who thankfully, so far, have been working well with us, and we thank them for that. But to me, there's a hotel there with Ukrainians. We had a tea party to welcome them. Great people. They're out helping Teddy Towns. They've helped and enhanced our village. But something different's happening. We don't know what it is. We can only guess. When we see cameras pulling in, or vans pulling in, put up security guards there at 5 a.m. this morning. This is not what we want for our village. And I must stress, this is not just about Ballyliffin. This is about Kilmany, Candrona, Buncrana. This is going to be a hub. I've spoken to a rural hotel in the last 24 hours, and they were contacted by the department to change from a Ukrainian centre to an IPAS centre, and they refused. And the department said to them that they're having issues, that the City West Hotel is a powder barrel ready to explode, a gunpowder barrel, and they need to distribute the residents.
In terms of, and just to sort of maybe step it back a little bit from personalities, just for this time being, till I double check absolutely everything, right? It appears to me that these bollards have been placed in parking spaces associated with the building that we're talking about, i.e. on private property. So in terms of their appearance, they listen, they don't look great, okay? I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but they do appear to have been placed on private property.
I can't really confirm or deny that. We're not sure who owns all that property, okay?
Okay.
And the point is, it's on an entrance to a village. It's on a corner, and it's a dangerous bend. Has there been accidents here before? Yes. I know there's concrete boulders sitting there. So I'd like Donegal County Council, and I'm sure they will come down and have a look at it from a health and safety point of view, if nothing else. Right.
Your concern is, well, I mean, I think you can forget about tidy towns. I don't think, I know tidy towns is an important thing for Ballyliffin, like most towns, but this does not look pretty. We're looking at some footage of it here now. It is really quite remarkable what's going on. So, Cathal, before we move on to other guests, you're looking for clarity from the local authority, the department. It's not the Department of Justice, but the department that is responsible. Is that what you're looking for?
Greg, there's a lot of confusion here, okay? So we have called a meeting tomorrow night, okay? It's not just us business people. There's local residents, and we got involved to assist them. But the reason we got involved is because there was so much confusion. The reason for the meeting is to inform the local community what is actually going on. There is confusion with people saying there is no planning on. That is correct. There's no planning on. It's not on the Donegal County Council planning website. It is a Section 5. A Section 5 is a form of change of use. It does not require planning or public consultation. People cannot object. It is simply a tick box exercise. Mark Crossan has applied for a Section 5. It is highly likely that it will be granted.
I'm not sure.
We do know the sewers is an issue.
I'm not sure about that, to be honest with you, because I've looked through what has and has not been approved, and I have a sense that I believe that Section 5 won't be. But I mean, that's only my sense, and you have
Greg,
to presume that it is.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
That's fine for you to say that sitting in Letterkenny.
I don't live
when
there.
You're down here in Ballyliffin,
Understood.
and you're watching cameras, or lorries moving in the middle of the night, and you're watching a building that didn't have security for 2 years, now putting up security.
Fair enough.
It's slightly different for us here, okay?
Yeah, I get it. I respect that.
So we just have to look at the facts. We can't look at other people's feelings.
Yeah, I feel it. I get you. Okay.
So, the Section 5, okay? So that's what's happening. As far as we can see, it's a tick box exercise. We've spoken to local councillors, and they said if he ticks the boxes, he gets it. Okay, it then moves to the department. Will the department give him a contract? It is estimated the Strand will take 170 residents. The village sewers, we have videos of us is running into the ocean at the moment. There's loads of issues. The MEC issues. Our own residents in Ballyliffin are living in inflated rent or in caravans.
Mm-hmm.
We need to sort out our own residents first. Ballyliffin cannot take another 170 residents. It's a triple. We can go from 90 to 260.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Now, the letter that came from the department, excuse me, I said it was no longer under consideration.
No, but that doesn't mean nothing.
Of course, it wasn't under consideration because he didn't have an application for an IPAS centre, so it can't be under consideration. And unless I'm mistaken, Greg, you can correct me. the department who issued that letter is no longer responsible.
No, you're 100% correct. Yeah, it's a different department.
It moved to the Department of Justice on the 1st of May.
No,
So
I would get that. I would get, and I can say this sitting in Letterkenny, though I'm not from here. That doesn't mean anything at this point, because that was a chapter. That's a chapter, and we're in a new chapter now. So I don't think anyone should take any lead from that one way or other. Cathal, I've loads of people to speak to. I appreciate your time. Thank you for it, and I'll obviously mention when. This meeting's taking place. That's Cathal Doherty, owner of the Ballyliffin Townhouse Hotel and Spa. Sean Keogh's owner of Ballyliffin Lodge and Spa. He's with me also on the show, Sean. I mean, there's going to be a duplication of concerns. I understand that, but we want to get as many voices on this as possible. You would share Cathal's concerns, I presume, and anything further to add, Sean?
Good morning, Greg. Yeah, 100%. It's of a very, very deep concerning circumstances that we saw this morning down at the Strand Hotel. It's right smack bang in the middle of the village. It's on 3 approach roads. You pass there going down to the beach. It's wild looking, to say the least.
I think it's probably, if the council haven't already been asked, I think it's important that they ascertain that these blocks can be placed there, because they're on both sides of the road in certain areas, and whilst some are in car parking spaces, others seem to be encroaching on what you'd imagine is a footpath. So I think the local authority, or whomever has a responsibility here, needs to check what's going on there. Would you agree?
Yeah, I believe the council was out this morning. I haven't had any feedback yet, but I had a missed call there just before, so I'm sure we'll hear something back. Whether they can do anything or not, I don't know.
Is this another layer of concern you had? Were you already concerned about the possibility of this becoming an iPass centre, and is there now renewed concern at the impact visually and in terms of parking availability, etc., the installation of these bollards has had? Because it happened in the middle of the night, overnight.
Yeah, it happened at 4 a.m. Yeah, we're 100% concerned. The whole village is concerned. People aren't sleeping. Old people, young people are concerned. Young people who are in Australia, they want to move back home. They're concerned. Everyone's concerned. Why wouldn't they? In a rural village with 90 people in it. Doesn't make any sense. There's photos of sewage going into the sea. Where's the public health here? Where is the public health? All the time the water pipes are bursting. During the winter, electricity outages near enough every week. It's all documented, with no broadband, with no fibre. And we're going to treble the size of the population. Madness. Absolutely bloody madness. We all need to stand up and no to this iPass centre.
All right. There is a meeting taking place on Thursday, 8 p.m. in St Mary's Hall. Thank you, Sean, for your contribution. Kieran Doherty is owner of Nancy's Barn in Ballyliffin as well. It's really quite interesting, Kieran, that business leaders in the area are coming out with such a united voice with their concerns, Kieran.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you for having me on. It's deeply concerning indeed. It's more of the unknown, what is happening, that is frightening everybody. And if we just knew to make a plan of what is happening. I'm a business owner, and I'm also speaking on behalf of the village and family and friends who are absolutely terrified. I'm sure you heard there the guys mentioning about the overnight haulage landing. That was at 4 a.m. this morning. Now, to wake up to loud banging and seeing neighbours standing out along the streets, it was something, that's not Ballyliffin. That's unheard of.
What is the function of
things around here?
What are the functions? I mean, obviously, what do you think the function of these bollards is?
Listen, Greg, you could look at it. There's many ways of looking at this. It's protection guard of. Are they thinking what we're going to do, or what is it? I wish we did know. But I know one thing for sure, that it's an absolute eyesore. Like Cathal Doherty mentioned there, coming into Ballyliffin, we have thousands of visitors. This is our peak season kicked off there at Easter. We have thousands coming through this village, Ballyliffin, Clonmany, right out Mallinhead, Orris. It's an absolute eyesore. As Cathal emphasised, like, we all help each other. We are a very, very close community up here in Inishowen. Like, we work really good together. As I said, like, how do we answer 160 people? And the Strand Hotel is the centre of Ballyliffin. It's the centre, the first thing you see from all angles when you come into Ballyliffin, and has been for a lifetime. It's catastrophic. Like, it's an eyesore.
I think it's very important for people's emotional well-being, or indeed, from business sentiment, that there is clarity in relation to this very, very, very soon, one way or other, so people know what they're dealing with. Because why were the Gardaí there? Why is there security there? Why is this site now encircled with these massive concrete bollards? Like, a small community needs to know what's going on, because to all intents and purposes...
Reassurance, Greg. That's what, If somebody could reassure us on what grounds, like, what is happening here? Again, like when I started there, the unknown, what is happening? You look at the older generation, like our parents, that's frightening. Young children, as I think Sean mentioned there, they're terrified. They're terrified. This is young children. That's all they're talking about. That shouldn't be their conversation. That's so sad. So it is. Like, everybody's scared. And as I said, like, anybody who knows Ballyliffin, and I'm pretty sure listeners listening here will agree, the Strand, it's like the capital of Ballyliffin. It's the main gateway. Can you imagine all these people? And again, not being racist, there's nothing to do with this. Where's all these people going to go? Like, we're struggling as it is. We're struggling to keep open 12 months a year. And again, I don't mean to reel in here on Pat Doherty. Like, look what just happened down the road. Like, a disaster like this. We should be giving our time to Pat and Magella right now. Instead, we're solely focused on this episode up here in Ballyliffin. That's really unfair. I don't really know what more to say.
I think you've made your point, and listen, there's no talk of racism. This is about it doesn't matter where people might come from or their race or nationality. This is about a small area with a population and a change in that population, and people understand that. But I understand your clarification, but I think we've moved past that mudslinging now, and this is more just about community concerns. Thanks for your time. I do appreciate it. Kieran Doherty, who's owner of Nancy's Barn, Ballyliffin, they're speaking ahead of a meeting on the 8th of May at St. Mary's Hall. They believe it's the only chance to come together and act. That Section 5 is still with the council. There's no update as to whether the exemption is granted or not. And I think if that decision, if it's been made, was made public. But then again, this is other issue of the bollards that have appeared around the heart of the town as well. It's really quite remarkable to watch on. I'm not making any judgment call. It's not up to me to do so. I'm just observing. Michael McGonagall's owner of Ballyliffin Hotel. Michael, thanks for your time. What's your view on all of this?
Yeah, hi, Greg. Listen, I just want to concur and support what the lads said there. We're all on the same page. You were talking about the bollards there, right? But that's not our biggest concern. What concerns me is what's coming next. Mark Crossan is bringing a wrecking ball to our community, and there's not much we can do to stop it. We need public support this Thursday night for the meeting. I just prepared a short paragraph here because we didn't have time to prepare, but I just want to say this. I would like to clarify some information online about the application for the Strand Hotel. When you Google Ballyliffin IPAS Centre, the first headline you read from a reputable Donegal news website is that the Strand is not under consideration. That could not be further from the truth. We've been informed by councillors that a second application was submitted 10 days ago. This time, Mark Crossan has ticked all the right boxes, and the planners will review his application next week. So the community has to know the facts. So that's where we stand. So I haven't got much else to add than that. So, yeah.
No, Michael, and listen, we spent an hour on the show clarifying that situation, and we know there was a further information request.
It's too much talk about bollards. It's what's coming next. It's really concerning me.
Well, I think the reason the bollards have come into it is that people heard this banging at 4 o'clock in the morning, and now there's large swathes of their town that are encircled with concrete. So I can understand why some residents might find that perturbing. Both sides of the street.
It's like a military operation in the middle of the night, you know.
But I understand where you're coming from as well, Michael. Listen, thanks for your time. I do appreciate it. That meeting, Thursday, 8th of May, 8 p.m, St. Mary's Hall. If you're interested in that, the reality is though the population of Ballyliffin is such that it's going to be very well attended. But you know, I presume people in the surrounding areas will go as well. Right, John is with us as well. John, it's a different take. I mean, you live in Loughnure, and your village has taken people into the area, and what's your assessment of it?
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Greg, I'll be honest, there's no point in me lying. I used to think very similar ways to the people that have all been on so far this morning. I was very concerned. Had all similar concerns as everybody else, but from living in the village and for how long they've been here now, not like crime's gone up or anything. And apparently there's over 30 of them, according to the young fella I met last week. There's over 30 of them living in this one house. The people of Loughnure, obviously, we never got no heads up or never got no incline on it, but it didn't matter. It happened, and they're there. But can I just say one thing? The other week, I unfortunately had to use the bus. The car was in the garage, and I got the bus out of Letterkenny. And a young fella got on from the house that in particular we're talking about. The bus stopped outside, and the young fella got on the bus. And me, as I am, I'll speak to anybody. And I spoke to the director, and he was from Afghanistan. He was 29 years of age. And what made me start talking to him was his wedding ring. I noticed his wedding ring, and I says, "Oh, you married?" And he got emotional. And he took out his phone, and he started to show me his photographs of his mother and father and his wife who were killed in Afghanistan by the Taliban. And he had no choice but to leave to seek a better opportunity of life, or he'd have been forced.
But John, I don't think anyone, and certainly no one I've spoken to this morning, would deny that man refuge in what he's been through. I think this is more about. Okay, go ahead.
They're not all. Listen, these people, we cannot be tarnishing every single human being. And I have to just say, it's not that long ago before this crisis came, a situation got out of hand in terms of the amount of people coming in, that we had old people getting robbed with shotguns and so on. That wasn't foreign nationals or anybody else.
No.
So the bottom line is, we seem to be jumping the gun.
I understand, John, but you do understand though, right, that the concern here is that the entire dynamic of a tourist village changes, that the building in the center of that becomes an iPad. It's not denying the man that you spoke to does not need help or assistance, but why not Dublin 4? I think locals are saying, why not in the leafy suburbs of Dublin? Who decides that it's okay for Ballyliffin to have their population doubled?
I don't think it should be specifically to Donegal. It should be all over Ireland. I think everybody in every town should be opening up our arms and opening up our homes if you have it and stuff like that, to help people, to support people. I don't know where we've lost that. I think it doesn't matter where it is.
Yeah, I think people feel. I think people feel that generosity that they have is being exploited, and there's currently 15, 16, 17 applications for iPass centres in Donegal. Many of them have been rejected, and it's companies based in Dublin that are finding properties in Donegal to move these people in here, making tens of millions of euro in the process. So it's not about that awful situation that the gentleman you spoke to has been through. It's also about the impact it has on GP services, on hospital services, on a village of 90 people. But listen, John, I respect your view, and I understand exactly where you're coming from. And I want just a quick word with Charlie McClafferty. Charlie, you're a business person. Your business is near an iPass centre. all of the people we've spoken to so far, bar John, are business people in Ballyliffin, close to what could potentially be an iPass centre. What's your comment on this?
Yeah, Greg, thanks for taking me on there. There was an iPass centre open roughly about 100 yards from my business with no consultation. I contacted the department. They told me that, has the community engagement team not been in contact with you? There never was one. It opened. Our business has gone down 18 to 20%, and the main reason being after 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, people have told me they don't feel safe on the bottom end of Letterkenny at the evening time. And then you just mentioned it there, what, another proposed too many for Donegal, Greg?
Yeah, and that's a dramatic drop in business, Charlie, 20%. I'm not sure there's many businesses could absorb that.
No, Greg, the whole thing has gone completely mad. The government have to do something, and our public representatives have to stand up with the people. The people have been left, that march in Letterkenny, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, the people had to take it on themselves. The public reps let them down. It's time to stand up and man up and woman up, whatever it may be, and stand with the people.
And are you saying that the decline in your business has been sort of more towards the evening? Is it that people are avoiding going into the area where your business is? I'm not putting words in your mouth, Charlie. I know you indicated that. I just want to be clear what you believe that the issue is.
I'm going to call it out as it is. When the people who work 9 to 5 or 8 to 6, whatever, go home in the evening time, the town sort of comes to a different stage.
So the demographics change.
The demographics.
Okay, I get you right. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't mean that anything bad is happening. It's a perception, and that perception is damaging your business.
Well, another 100 yards from my business, there was a young girl violently and brutally raped.
Which is a case before the courts, so we have to be. We don't want to compromise. I'm not trying to bury it. We just don't want to compromise the potential outcome of that case. I get you. Okay, listen, Charlie. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Can I mention something else?
Yes, go ahead. Of course.
There was a proposed. A lot of your listeners might know this, but there was a proposed iPass centre for Fortwell.
Mm-hmm.
That second floor on that iPass centre was going to be looking into the Loretto Convent's training pitch. Looking straight into it. Now, I've been told today by a county councillor, I won't name him because I won't put him on the spot, that iPass centre hasn't been approved.
Yeah, Caroline, do you have my list of Section 5s there? I think Fortwell was deemed not to be exempt, but the writing's so bloody small on what I printed. Caroline, if you could just check Fortwell, it's on there, and just, I believe it was deemed to be not exempt from planning, which doesn't mean that can't be appealed or a separate planning application. But I had all this printed out because, as you know, Charlie, I'm not doubting what you're saying, but it's important that we're operating on absolute certainty. I'll double check that. I know there's a couple pending for Letterkenny, but I believe Fortwell's one that was. I'll clarify that once I come back from the break. For now, Charlie, thanks. I don't know what.
Just make the point
that, of course,
that if that iPass centre does go ahead, that it is straight across the road from a place where people are living in sheltered accommodation, mostly elderly people, and the second floor is looking onto the training pitch of the Loretto Convent, which is a disgrace.
Yeah, okay. As I say, I should have that list in front of me, but I don't. My apologies. All right, Charlie, listen, thanks for that. I'll let you know afterwards if that Section 5 was granted or not. Chris Ashmore's on the way with business news too.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
Reimagine your drive with a 100% electric BMW. Whether it be the versatile BMW iX1 or the uncompromising BMW i7, BMW has the perfect fully electric vehicle to suit your needs. Trade in your current electric vehicle or any other fuel type from any brand and you'll receive between €1,500 and €5,000 towards the purchase of your new fully electric BMW. Visit bmw.ie. Terms and conditions apply. Contribution dependent on vehicle purchased. Applicable to new BMW BEV vehicles registered by the 30th of June 2025.
It's your chance to CFC save big with CFC Interiors Campsie Derry in our massive £1.5 million stock clearance. We've slashed prices across all departments with up to 75% off across our 3 CFC stores. Our massive £1.5 million stock clearance ends this weekend. Visit CFC Campsie Derry before it all goes.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Householders and building owners in areas susceptible to wildfires are advised to cut back or remove any vegetation or other combustible material in the vicinity of their house, building or oil tank to prevent wildfires damaging or destroying their property. Cleared areas should be maintained free of vegetation and combustible material. Donegal County Council would also like to remind landowners and members of the public that under the Wildlife Acts 1976 and 2000, it is an offence to cut, grub, burn or otherwise destroy any vegetation growing on any land not then cultivated between the 1st day of March and the 31st day of August in any year. Members of the public are also reminded that the burning of domestic, industrial, agricultural and construction waste is an offence under the Waste Management Act 1996. Donegal County Council, protecting your environment.
Make great photos into beautiful gifts at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Different gift ideas include canvas prints, freestanding or ready-to-hang art blocks and personalised photo books, perfect to mark any occasion. There's also jigsaws, calendars, mugs and much more. For details, visit mcgees.ie. Turn your favourite moments into something truly special with McGee's Chemist Letterkenny.
Indulge yourself with friends or a loved one at the Spa at Orchids at the Holyrood Hotel in Bundoran. A midweek or weekend spa break is the perfect way to escape from life for a while. Take a leisurely walk along the Atlantic coast. Enjoy a dip in our private pool, a plunge in our Canadian hot tub, and treatments of your choice before dining in one of the Holyrood Hotel's acclaimed restaurants. The Spa at Orchids. Book now at holyroodhotel.com.
We carry those up long before the day breaks, who make our lives better, whatever it takes. And for those who need some extra assistance, we'll get you on board. We'll go the distance. With new electric vehicles, quiet and cleaner, our growing TFI network helps keep Ireland greener for the days of your life and the big nights out too. We're Transport for Ireland. We're transport for you.
Trade in your way with Vodafone. Choose no bills for up to 3 months, money off a new smartwatch, or your new smartphone free.
Sweet!
Get a sweet deal with Vodafone Trade-In on Ireland's most reliable mobile network. Visit in-store or search Vodafone Trade-In. Vodafone. Together we can.
Subject to using your eligible handset trade-in value against your bill, smartphone or smartwatch. 24-month contract may be required. Most reliable network Umlaut 2024. For certification and full terms, see vodafone.ie/terms.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Right, you're very welcome back to the programme. The weather continuing nice and sunny today. A bit of cloud about, temperatures 15 to 18 degrees. Chris Ashmore's in studio with me, Business Matters time. Chris, how are you getting on?
Good morning, Greg.
It's great to have you with us. Right, let's start with a bit of news, because I haven't been given any notes or else I've misplaced them. Give
well,
me some
yes,
news, man.
Okay. Just
give me some news.
Yeah,
me.
okay. There was a survey carried out recently about absenteeism rates in businesses.
I'm back in the game.
Yeah. Now, this survey found out they're forecasting for this year in companies 8.5%. So obviously, there's a knock-on effect for companies if you've an absenteeism rate of 8.5%, and this ties in with having a healthy, happy workplace and the importance of having a workforce that are content in what they're doing. And Also, of course, we still have hybrid working, economic pressures and stress levels. So lots of contributing factors that can all lead to absenteeism as well as health issues.
A lot of talk about AI and its contribution to business. There's a big thing going on down in Dublin at the moment and some fantastic ideas that I wish I could have thought of.
Well, we're just waiting for you to come up and divulge the details. But as you say, yeah, look, it's very much in the news. And I've been watching some quite fascinating things on television recently. There's an event coming up here in Letterkenny tomorrow morning, in fact, 8:30 to 10 o'clock in the PGIM, the Prudential premises in the Letterkenny Business Park. Use AI in your business is the name of the event. There'll be expert panelists there with some showing some practical ways about how businesses can harness the power of AI, and more details available through Letterkenny Chamber if you're interested in that.
Coffee breaks in the workforce.
Yeah, I don't know if you're a tea or a coffee man, but...
coffee at work, tea at home.
Tea at home, right. Well, they did a study, Codex Office Solutions did a study about the role of tea and coffee breaks in the workplace. And 70% of workers take 2 or more tea or coffee breaks daily. 65% of them said they were very important for their well-being. And they did a survey on the most popular brands. Lions Tea, the favourite, 32%, just edging out Barry's on 31%. Nescafe won the honours in terms of coffee at 31%. Now, 1 in 6 respondents keep their beverage breaks less than 5 minutes, but 16% in admitted to indulging in longer breaks. So everybody likes a coffee.
I can pick these people out as well. Come here, ICS Mortgage have a new product out there.
Yeah, now this may be of particular interest to first-time buyers. ICS Mortgages have a new product. Now, essentially, you go on to your normal fixed rate, but the first 2 years, Greg, are interest only. So this lowers your payment. So by way of example, if you'd a €250,000 mortgage over 30 years, the normal rate on their mortgages would be €1,229 a month. But the 2-year discount, your interest only, is €885. So it's about €400 less a month. So the idea is this would help people maybe moving into a house for the first time. Of course, it's added on at the end and it will put it up. But it's just certainly an option that many people would be interested in, because if you're saving £400 a month in the short term, you do pay in the long term, but it can be that little helping hand.
But then what happens is at the end, you look at your total owed after a few years and it's the same, if not a little bit more, and you talk about wasted money at rent. I think if you're going down that route, you might be worried about how you might meet your payments in the long term, but I've done it in the past and it helped me out too. Right, okay, a few diary items for us.
Well, we've mentioned the AI one. Also, just to let you know, Local Enterprise Office hosting an in-person business supports clinic. That's in Killybegs on Friday the 23rd of May, so you can register for that now, and it gets underway on that Friday at 10 in the morning.
Right, so what's coming up on the show today?
The Business Matters programme this week is all about the Blas na hÉireann Awards. These are the Irish Food Awards for food and drink. Many people may be familiar with the little Great Taste logo on lots of products. Donegal firms have done really well on this over the years, and it's a blind taste testing that's carried out by the judges. So you could be a one-person operation. You've made a new tomato ketchup or something. You could be up against Heinz, who knows. So it's all about the taste. There's gold, silver and bronze awards, overall awards, and companies have found that if they get one of the awards, they stick the logo on, best taste, and it does boost sales. So it's a win-win all round. Fallon Moore is the event coordinator, and we have a clip here, and she explains essentially what it's all about.
It's fantastic for us. We're heading into another year of the Irish Food Awards, and they were founded so a quality benchmark could be established for Irish food and drink producers all across the island. We were founded by a producer, Artie Clifford, who wanted to see something which could be a level competition for producers from all across the island to have a chance to put their best foot forward with food and drinks and to be recognised for what they do and the work that they do. So we're heading into 18 years of the awards now. Everything in the competition comes down to the taste of the product. So our judges are looking at the sample in front of them. They don't know who has made it, where it's come from. So from a producer's point of view, particularly perhaps for a new producer or somebody starting out or trialling a new product, they're competing potentially against some of the bigger players, but on a completely level playing field. So for us, we head into a summer now where we undertake the blind tasting, which takes place right across the country. We'll have all of our entries will be delivered in the summer, and we'll have those tasted right through May, June and July to establish who of our finalists will be through to the awards this year.
Yeah, and there's some brilliant companies out there. Actually, you were talking about an enterprise day down in the Mount Erigal, and I was given some of the products from Nomadic Dairies here in Donegal. Brilliant stuff. It looked, to all intents and purposes, this stuff was from wherever, fantastic packaging. Slightly addicted to them at the moment. And I think they've tied in with the Donegal County team now. There's just brilliant companies going that if you saw this Nomadic product on the shelf, for example, firstly, it's absolutely delicious. But secondly, you wouldn't actually know that this is a Convoy company, I believe. So brilliant stuff happening all over the place. So your entire podcast is available right now.
That's right, and the programme itself goes out on Sunday after the 6 o'clock news, and also there's a little bit in the programme as well just on retrofitting of homes if you're interested in that as well. So
I was interested and I've done a bit of it. I'm getting less interested, but
it's not going to go away.
But it's the hoops one must jump through. Chris, and you can be contacted.
Best way is by email, so it's businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Thanks, Chris. Now, just a bit of clarity here. My apologies if I misled anyone. Whether the use of residential apartments at Fortwell Court Apartments, Fortwell, Letterkenny, where care is not provided as long-term residential accommodation for a protected person is or is not development. The decision was made by the council and reads as follows. The proposal is development and is exempted development as the development falls within the scope of Class 14H of Part 1 of Schedule 2 of the Planning and Development Regulations, as I mentioned. So that looks to me, and I'm open to correction on it, as that Section 5 was actually granted as it was deemed to be development, but exempted development. So sorry if I misled Charlie or any of you in that last comment. We can catch up on that again tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, will you? We'll be back at 9 in the morning. Stay safe, stay tuned. John Breslin's around the Northwest next.
Get ready, Donegal.